Chapter 1804. The Dragon Pool Manor sank into a state of endless panic. The slaughter didn't stop. Qin Wentian only hunted experts. With the world-breaking bow, he could kill with a single arrow. World overlords would die for sure, Empyreans would also be killed. As for those at the Immortal Emperor realm and above, there was no mercy. Clearly, what the Dragon Pool Manor Lord did in the Time Realm back then had agitated him. Princess Kitamura almost died, Jun Mingchen, Little Rascal, Purgatory, Nanfeng Yaoyue and the others were almost killed as well. This hatred couldn't be resolved. One side would die for sure. Although many people in the Dragon Pool Manor didn't participate in the plan to kill him, the Dragon Pool Manor Lord represented the Dragon Pool Manor's attitude. With a single command from the Dragon Pool Manor Lord, who would show mercy to him, Qin Wentian. He didn't forget Long Yuan Haoyu, he didn't forget the coldness of that world overlord when he shot out the world-breaking bow. If he was the weaker party and the Dragon Pool Manor Lord gave the order to kill him, none of the people in the Dragon Pool Manor would show mercy. But even so, he still left some leeway and only killed experts at the Immortal Emperor realm and above. The existence of these people would threaten the Qingqing realm. Stop! At this moment, a thunderous roar rang out in the air. The slaughter here had long attracted the attention of Time City. Right now, the news circulated rapidly, causing a commotion in Time City. Experts from all directions all rushed over here. There was actually someone who acted against the Dragon Pool Manor. The powerful Dragon Pool Manor of Time City was currently facing a calamity. As for the person who spoke, he was from a major power that had a good relationship with the Dragon Pool Manor. Both parties were related by marriage and was also a major power in the Time Realm. Coincidentally, there were also extremely powerful experts in their clan. Hence, this person rushed over here to berate Qin Wentian. Qin Wentian's movements halted. His gaze was like ice as he stared at the person who came. This is a grudge between me and the Dragon Pool Manor. You're simply a lunatic to kill like this. That expert roared in anger as a cold intent radiated from him. Qin Wentian stared at him as he coldly spoke, ridiculous to the extreme. When the Dragon Pool Manor gave the order to capture me and my friends with a treasure, where were you? When Long Yuan Haoyu ordered people to capture my wife, where were you? The Dragon Pool Manor Lord gave the order to kill me, using my kin as bait to deal with them. When the world-breaking bow shot through the body of my kin, where were you? Qin Wentian asked in a loud voice, his tone as cold as ever. In your eyes, do you think that just because the Dragon Pool Manor is powerful enough to disregard my life? Do you think that it's only natural for them to disregard the lives of my loved ones? Who asked me to antagonize the Dragon Pool Manor? However, my revenge means that I've gone mad. Should I wash my neck clean and wait for the Dragon Pool Manor to slay me? When everyone heard Qin Wentian's words, their countenances changed. How could there be logic in this world? It was just like what Qin Wentian had said. When the Dragon Pool Manor wanted to kill him, who would speak up for him? How could they not allow revenge? Since there's already a death grudge between us, there's no need to rest until one of us is dead. We are mortal enemies. Even your Dragon Pool Manor wants my life, why are you still talking about benevolence and morality? Scram! Whoever dares to interfere in the matters between me and the Dragon Pool Manor will be my enemy. I will kill you all without mercy. Qin Wentian lifted the world-breaking bow as killing intent gushed forth from him. There were countless people from the Dragon Pool Manor below. All of them felt incomparable hatred in their hearts. Since the Manor Lord had offended such a character, why didn't the Dragon Pool Manor eliminate the roots of the weeds? People from the Wood Manor, right? You guys better not be implicated in this matter. You guys won't be able to bear the consequences. A cold voice rang out. The eyes of the experts from the Wood Manor flashed as they glanced in the direction of the person who spoke. They only saw 10 Miles Springwind, Chao Tian and the others standing there. He was acquainted with these people and his expression stiffened. Either you step out and fight or scram. My brother has already shown mercy. If not, your entire Dragon Pool Manor would already be littered with corpses. Chao Tian coldly spoke. From his point of view, Qin Wentian only shot his arrows at experts at the Immortal Emperor realm and above. This was definitely showing mercy. If Qin Wentian saw the woman beside him being pierced by an arrow, he would definitely slaughter everyone in the Dragon Pool Manor. Such a life and death grudge naturally had to end with one side being annihilated. The experts from the Wood Manor were speechless. What did the Dragon Pool Manor Lord do exactly? Why did he force the Qingqing Realm Lord into such a corner? This fellow actually left behind traces when he did things, causing such a calamity to befall them. Now, how could he interfere? If he was implicated, 10 Miles Springwind, Chao Tian and the others were here as well. If he couldn't kill these people, what would happen if a similar storm appeared in the future? But if he didn't stop them, the relationship between the Dragon Pool Manor and the Wood Manor would most probably break apart. Qin Wentian continued his slaughter, destroying all experts at the Immortal Emperor realm and above. Screams of misery rang out unceasingly. The vast Dragon Pool Manor was in a state of chaos. Close to half of the buildings in the manor were destroyed. The Dragon Pool Manor, which had been flourishing for a long time, had never encountered such a calamity before. And today's calamity was all caused by the Dragon Pool Manor Lord's decision. Or more accurately, it was caused by Long Yuan Haoyu's arrogance back then. He didn't handle the matter between Qin Wentian and the Heaven Immortal Tower well. If not, everything that happened later on wouldn't have happened. As for why he didn't handle it well, it was naturally because of Long Yuan Haoyu's status. He basically looked down on Qin Wentian. When the Dragon Pool Manor Lord brought his people over, the Dragon Pool Manor was already in ruins. In the vast manor, all the experts at the Immortal Emperor realm and above actually no longer existed. World overlords were all killed, all of them had died. The Dragon Pool Manor was completely broken. Only some of the juniors and the upper echelons of the Dragon Pool Manor remained. And all of this was done by the white-robed young man who was still hovering in the air above the Dragon Pool Manor. He actually still dared to stay here. Arg! The Dragon Pool Manor Lord let out a terrifying roar of rage. His eyes were cold to the extreme as he stared at Qin Wentian. A violent killing intent radiated from him, permeating through the void. No matter where one was, they wouldn't be able to escape from his killing intent. He was enraged, completely enraged. Qin Wentian, I want to kill your entire family, annihilate your entire clan, and destroy your Qingqing realm. The Dragon Pool Manor Lord roared in rage. His rage caused him to forget everything, he was no longer calm. When you gave the order to deal with my family and friends, using the world-breaking bow to kill me, did you not consider the consequences? Qin Wentian coldly spoke. Die! The Dragon Pool Manor Lord roared as he released his world heart. However, at the instant he released his energy, another surge of energy manifested in the void. This surge of energy enveloped the entire space, enveloping everyone within it. Naturally, the Dragon Pool Manor Lord was included as well. But when this surge of pressure bore down, the Dragon Pool Manor Lord's expression turned extremely ugly to behold. He stared at Qin Wentian, who is the one standing behind you? Why did you do such a crazy thing? In the air, a group of figures suddenly appeared. Luo Shenlei was right there. Behind her, there were two old men protecting her. Luoshan clan. The Dragon Pool Manor Lord turned pale. Did the Luoshan clan interfere in this matter? Back then after you ordered someone to shoot that arrow, I once told you to remember what you did and never forget it. Do you still remember it now? Luo Shenlei spoke. The people of the Dragon Pool Manor initially saw hope when they saw the Manor Lord. But at this moment, they sensed that the Manor Lord's aura was leaking out. He no longer had that towering rage earlier, nor was he as confident as before. This was all because of the appearance of this young woman. In that case, who was that supreme beauty in the air? Why does the Luotian clan want to interfere in the matters of my mystic region? My Dragon Pool Manor can be considered a major power in Time City of the mystic region. Yet, the Luotian clan is bullying us too much. Do you think there's no one capable in the mystic region? The Dragon Pool Manor Lord coldly spoke, escalating the matter to a matter between the mystic region and the Luotian clan, giving the Luotian clan pressure. I once warned you that this man has a friendship with me and told your Dragon Pool Manor not to touch him. However, you seem to have ignored my words. How can the prestige of my Luotian clan be trampled by your Dragon Pool Manor? There's no need for you to bring out the mystic region. This matter is between you and me, it has nothing to do with the mystic region or the desolate region. Your Dragon Pool Manor is an ant-like power, yet you want to represent the mystic region. Luotian Lei coldly spoke. Such an arrogant tone coming from the mouth of a young beauty didn't cause anyone to feel that it was inappropriate. Because, from their conversation, the crowd learned that she came from the Luotian clan. The Luotian clan actually participated in this storm. The Dragon Pool Manor Lord ignored the words of the Luotian clan and wanted to kill Qin Wentian. The Luotian clan felt that their prestige was trampled and wanted revenge. Hence, they sent the Qingqing Realm Lord here to kill Qin Wentian. The experts from the Wood Manor felt their hearts pounding violently. Luckily, they weren't implicated. They were almost harmed by the Dragon Pool Manor Lord, but the Luotian clan actually didn't mention the Luotian clan. If they were implicated, the consequences would be unimaginable. Who are you to the Luotian clan? The Dragon Pool Manor Lord's expression was extremely unsightly to behold. He stared at Luotian Lei as he asked. This young woman's status in the Luotian clan might be extraordinary. The two old men beside her were both extraordinary as well. This was especially so for the old man who exuded pressure with his eyes closed. He was definitely a supremely terrifying character. Luotian Lei of the Luotian clan came to the mystic region to search for an item and obtained the help of the Qingqing Realm Lord. Luotian Lei calmly spoke. Everyone memorized this name, but they didn't know of Luotian Lei's exact identity. After all, her name wasn't famous enough to spread to the mystic region yet. Luotian Lei's words made it sound like she was the mastermind behind everything today. Because, the might of the Luotian clan couldn't be blasphemed. What do you want to do? The Dragon Pool Manor Lord asked. The people of the Dragon Pool Manor felt despair when they heard this. Their Manor Lord had arrived and rushed back. However, leaving aside revenge, it seemed like he couldn't even protect himself. He didn't dare to move easily and asked the other party what he wanted to do. Clearly, he didn't have the confidence to do so. The Manor Lord, why did he have to antagonize such a powerful character? Since the people of the Time Realm ignored my words, all of you can commit suicide. I'll allow the Dragon Pool Manor to continue existing. This matter shall end here. Luotian Lei calmly spoke. How tyrannical was her voice. She wanted these peak characters of the Dragon Pool Manor, including the Dragon Pool Manor Lord, to commit suicide. What arrogant words! When did the desolate region become so imposing in our mystic region? A cold laugh rang out. The other major powers of the Time Realm had already arrived. The Donghuang clan and Yu Changkong were the first to arrive, and this voice was naturally spoken by none other than Yu Changkong. Chapter 1805. Qin Wentian and Luotian Lei turned their gazes to Yu Changkong. Qin Wentian's loathing for Yu Changkong grew increasingly intense. Not only was Yu Changkong shameless, he was also like a ghost that refused to disperse. Right now, Yu Changkong wanted to interfere in the matter between him and the Dragon Pool Manor. Naturally, Qin Wentian still didn't know that back then, the Dragon Pool Manor acted against him because of Yu Changkong's hints. I've never said that I represent the desolate region. It's just that the Dragon Pool Manor disregarded my Luotian clan and they naturally have to pay the price. As for you, although you are now a heavenly deity, you are merely a newly joined disciple. You don't have the qualifications to speak and yet you want to represent the mystic region. You aren't qualified yet. Luotian lay coldly mocked. How imposing. Right now, he is a disciple of the Ziwei Divine Court, how is he not qualified? Although you are someone from the Luotian clan, don't forget that you are merely someone who lost to him. Dong Huangying, who was beside you, Chongkong, spoke. You haven't married him yet and you are already speaking on his behalf. Chao Tian glanced at Dong Huangying. The Dong Huang clan is truly getting more and more incompetent. Chao Tian, you are someone who doesn't even dare to return to your clan. Just shut up. An expert from the Dong Huang clan spoke. The Eastern Royal Immortal Realms and Scarlet Sun Immortal Realms were roughly equal in strength and both of them belonged to different camps. The Dong Huang clan was a subordinate of the Ziwei Divine Court while the Scarlet Sun Immortal Realms was a subordinate of the Great Devil Divine Palace. Although both sides were familiar with each other, there was also a competitive relationship between them. Hee hee. Chao Tian coldly laughed. Your Dong Huang clan should properly discipline your descendants. You are so proud of yourself for defeating a maiden who just broke through to the Immortal Realms. In that case, Yu Chongkong has cultivated for a longer period of time compared to Qin Wentian and was still defeated. Don't slap your own face. Back then, the Dragon Pool Manor wanted to kill Qin Wentian. This is the Mystic Region's Time City, not the Eastern Emperor Immortal Domain. The Qinqing Realm Lord naturally can take revenge. If he can destroy the Dragon Pool Manor, I definitely won't say anything. This is a personal grudge between them. However, the Luotian clan is a hegemonic power of the desolate region, it's impossible for them to interfere. After all, this place is the mystic region. If a hegemonic power of the desolate region destroyed a hegemonic power of my mystic region, where do they place the three hegemonic powers of the mystic region? As a disciple of the Ziwei Divine Court, I naturally can't ignore this. No matter what, you, Chao Tian, can be considered a member of the Chao clan, a vassal force of the mystic region, the Great Devil Divine Palace. He was happy to see the war between the Dragon Pool Manor and Qin Wentian. It would be best if the Dragon Pool Manor killed Qin Wentian. But if the Luotian clan interfered, the Dragon Pool Manor would only be destroyed. This was something he didn't wish to see. In addition, if the Dragon Pool Manor was destroyed like this, who knew if the Dragon Pool Manor Lord would betray him and bite him? Hence, he had to express his stance. Stop mentioning the Ziwei Divine Court every time you open your mouth. You are just a new disciple, you can't represent the Ziwei Divine Court yet. Chao Tian mocked. This Yu Chongkong was simply shameless, his skin was extremely thick. Since he is a disciple of my Ziwei Divine Court, he naturally has the qualifications to speak for the Ziwei Divine Court. At this moment, a voice rang out in the air. A hegemonic old man appeared. His aura was transcendent and extremely powerful. When Yu Chongkong saw him, he immediately called out, "Martial Uncle." As the sound of his voice faded, many world overlords in the surroundings felt shock in their hearts. Right now, Yu Chongkong has already become a disciple of a heavenly deity of the Ziwei Divine Court. This old man was his martial uncle, which meant that he was the junior apprentice brother of a heavenly deity. In the Ziwei Divine Court, he most probably had an extraordinary status. Qin Wentian frowned. He didn't expect that even people from the Ziwei Divine Court would appear today, wanting to stop them from acting against the Dragon Pool Manor. But to him, the Dragon Pool Manor was something he had to get rid of. If he didn't, it would only be a calamity that would bring him endless calamities. Back then, he only killed Long Yuan Haoyu and the Dragon Pool Manor wanted his life, acting against his kin. Now, the Dragon Pool Manor would definitely take revenge on him. I didn't expect Taoist Lifeless to come to our mystic region. Seems like this young miss should be the beloved daughter of the Sky Order heavenly deity. That expert who appeared spoke, recognizing Lifeless. They were all from heavenly deity-ranked powers. Even if they were in different regions, they would still pay attention to each other. Lifeless was the person the Sky Order heavenly deity trusted the most. Now that he appeared beside this young miss, there was only one possibility. Luo Shenlei was the daughter of the Sky Order heavenly deity. The daughter of a heavenly deity. The hearts of everyone trembled as they stared at Luo Shenlei. Her status was even more noble compared to the disciple of a heavenly deity. This beautiful young miss was the daughter of a heavenly deity. Dong Huangying felt some discomfort in her heart. Yu Changkong was merely a disciple of a heavenly deity while she was merely his fiancée. Her beauty was also inferior to the Luotian clan. It felt like she was being ruthlessly suppressed. No wonder she looked so heroic. So it turns out that she is the daughter of Senior Sky Order heavenly deity. I've heard of the Sky Order heavenly deity's deeds back then. How glorious was he back then? Sadly, he was defeated by a junior and his cultivation base was crippled. A heavenly deity was actually reduced to a cripple. Such pain is most probably worse than death, right? Yu Changkong calmly spoke. As the sound of his voice faded, Luo Shenlei's gaze turned to him. Her gaze was as cold as the edge of a blade, filled with an intense killing intent. Qin Wentian also turned his gaze to Yu Changkong. This seemed to be praising the Sky Order heavenly deity, but in truth, it was a disguised form of humiliation. Lifeless silhouette flashed as he soared through the air. However, at the same time, Yu Changkong's martial uncle also moved, blocking before Yu Changkong. The major characters from the Eastern Royal Immortal realms did the same as well. Lifeless walked near them, his eyes flashed with cold killing intent. This place is the desolate region. If the Luotian clan dares to act against a disciple of my Ziwei divine court, the people of the Luotian clan can forget about leaving here today. Yu Changkong's martial uncle coldly spoke. Lifeless didn't move. He also understood that this place was the mystic region after all. It would be extremely easy for the heavenly deities of the Ziwei divine court to rush here. Two deity-level powers were opposing each other. This caused the hearts of many world overlords who were spectating to tremble. Would the matter this time continue to escalate or would it cease and desist? Most probably, both sides would have some trepidation. Senior, I'm also a world overlord of the mystic region. I obeyed the summons and came here to participate in the convention of the myriad realms. During the convention, the Dragon Pool Manor disregarded the rules and acted against my wife in the palace I was staying in. After that, they acted against my family and friends, almost killing me. Now, I'm here for revenge. Does Senior want to stop me? Qin Wentian walked out, staring at Yu Changkong's martial uncle. If you want revenge, I won't stop you. However, the Luotian clan cannot interfere. The other party glanced at Qin Wentian. This person's talent was outstanding. If he had occupied the Constellation Lord position back then, he could have recruited him into the Ziwei Divine Court as well. Sadly, Qin Wentian would rather give up and join the Tiandao Sacred Academy, not giving face to the Ziwei Divine Court. The Luotian clan doesn't represent the desolate region. It's only because we have some friendship that they helped me. What's wrong with that? Qin Wentian asked. No means no. There's no other reason. Yu Changkong's martial uncle calmly spoke. I've already said it. If you want revenge, just do it yourself. No one will stop you. What logic is this? In that case, I have a conflict with Yu Changkong. If I want to kill him, the Ziwei Divine Court won't help me. Qin Wentian didn't want to offend the Ziwei Divine Court. However, the attitude of the Ziwei Divine Court caused him to be very disappointed. Today, anyone who obstructs him from dealing with the Dragon Pool Manor would be his enemy. Your tone is a little too arrogant. Dong Huangying coldly spoke. Arrogant. It's extremely easy for me to kill him. If not, why don't you ask him if he dares to fight me? Qin Wentian mocked. Dong Huangying's beautiful eyes flashed. Yu Changkong's expression was extremely unsightly. Right now, he was already a heavenly deity's disciple, but he was still humiliated by Qin Wentian in public. He had no way to retort. Could it be that he really had to fight against Qin Wentian? Given the current situation, he would definitely lose. Yu Changkong still knew his own limits. If not, he wouldn't want Qin Wentian to die so badly. Impudent. That expert from the Ziwei Divine Court berated. He coldly spoke, right now, Changkong has already taken my senior brother as his disciple. How can you be qualified to challenge him as you wish? Senior's attitude, can it represent the attitude of the Ziwei Divine Court? Qin Wentian's eyes were like ice. Naturally. That person coldly spoke. Fine. Qin Wentian's heart turned cold. At this moment, another voice rang out, the Qingqing Realm Lord will head to my Tiandao Sacred Academy to cultivate. Why are you not qualified? As the sound of this voice faded, a group of people appeared. The person in the lead was none other than the hegemonic-level world overlord of the Tiandao Sacred Academy. He stared at Qin Wentian and smiled. Qin Wentian, before this, I've already asked the heavenly deities of our Tiandao Sacred Academy. They are willing to be your teachers and impart the Tao to you. Are you willing? Naturally, it's fine if you reject. You can still head to my Tiandao Sacred Academy to cultivate. Qin Wentian started. After that, joy filled his heart. The Tiandao Sacred Academy was willing to stand up for him. He still had a very favorable impression of the Tiandao Sacred Academy. In addition, he was willing to believe in the Tiandao Sacred Academy. Right now, the attitude of the Ziwei Divine Court caused him to be very disappointed. It's Junior's honor, I'm naturally willing. Qin Wentian nodded. The hearts of the people in the surroundings trembled. Another person who could enter the tutelage of a heavenly deity. Although he was only a teacher, there was no difference between him and a teacher. Qin Wentian could also be considered a disciple of a heavenly deity, comparable to Yu Changkong. The Ziwei Divine Court chose Yu Changkong. The Tiandao Sacred Academy was willing to stand up for the Qingqing Realm Lord, not hesitating to offend the Ziwei Divine Court. This was truly interesting. One was the successor of the Time King, the other was someone who defeated the Time King. In that case, who would be more outstanding in the future? Dong Huangying's expression changed. Qin Wentian also obtained the favor of a heavenly deity. But so what of it? Qin Wentian was the successor of the Time King, he would only be more outstanding. Right. The expert from the Tiandao Sacred Academy smiled and nodded. He glanced at Yu Changkong's martial uncle and spoke, in the past, the Dragon Pool Manor's actions truly went overboard but the Ziwei Divine Court didn't interfere. In that case, the Ziwei Divine Court shouldn't interfere in this matter as well. If not, it would be too biased. The Tiandao Sacred Academy has never participated in the disputes of the outside world. It's naturally best that we don't participate in this matter as well. Since the Luotian clan of the Desolate region is involved, how can my Ziwei Divine Court stand aside and watch? The other party felt unhappy in his heart. This Tiandao Sacred Academy was smacking the face of the Ziwei Divine Court. This made him very unhappy. The attitude of the Ziwei Divine Court was very clear. Yu Changkong's attitude was their attitude as well. Qin Wentian's heart turned cold. He stared at the other party and spoke. Earlier Senior said that the matter between me and the Dragon Pool Manor will be settled by us. The Ziwei Divine Court won't interfere, right? As long as the Luotian clan doesn't participate, my Ziwei Divine Court won't interfere. The other party nodded. Right. Qin Wentian nodded. Since this is the case, I'll challenge the Dragon Pool Manor Lord. As the sound of his voice faded, everyone in the surroundings was shocked. Chapter 1806. Everyone stared at Qin Wentian in disbelief. He wanted to challenge the Dragon Pool Manor Lord. Honestly speaking, there was no need to doubt Qin Wentian's talent. He was one of the most dazzling world overlords in the Time Realm and had even defeated Yu Changkong before. Not only that, he also comprehended the ability to stop time. However, what sort of character was the Dragon Pool Manor Lord? He was a true hegemonic level character. He had been in charge of the Dragon Pool Manor for many years and was one of the peak experts in Time City. Had Qin Wentian gone mad? He actually dared to challenge the Dragon Pool Manor Lord. Elder brother. Luo Shenlei transmitted her voiceover, feeling a little worried. Think clearly. 10 Miles Springwind also transmitted his voiceover. He glanced at Qin Wentian. Old Ghost's eyes narrowed habitually. Chao Tian started before he laughed uproariously. What boldness, as expected of his brother. Yu Changkong also started. After that, a cold smile flashed in his eyes. Was Qin Wentian courting death? This was what he wanted to see. Dong Huangying stared at Qin Wentian. Qin Wentian overestimated himself and was actually so arrogant to this extent. Most probably, Qin Wentian basically had no idea how powerful hegemonic level characters were. The eyes of the major character from the Tiandao Sacred Academy flashed. He stared at Qin Wentian in bewilderment as he asked, "Are you sure?" "Senior, the Ziwei Divine Court is the hegemon of the mystic region. Since this is their attitude, I can only act personally and abide by the rules of the Ziwei Divine Court." Qin Wentian spoke. Right. That major character nodded and didn't obstruct him. Given Qin Wentian's cultivation realm, his state of heart was extraordinary. He naturally understood what he was doing. Since Qin Wentian has already made his decision, he naturally wouldn't obstruct him. The eyes of the Dragon Pool Manor Lord flashed with intense killing intent. Qin Wentian was courting death. In today's situation, luckily the Ziwei Divine Court appeared. He naturally understood that this was because of Yu Changkong. If Yu Changkong didn't do anything in this situation, causing his Dragon Pool Manor to be completely destroyed, he would definitely reveal that Yu Changkong was the one who instructed him to do so. But now, although he hated Yu Changkong, he couldn't afford to offend him. Qin Wentian's silhouette flashed as he soared up into the air, appearing in the airspace above the Dragon Pool Manor. All of you fight to your heart's content. You don't have to worry about what's happening below. A major character from the Ziwei Divine Court spoke, telling the Dragon Pool Manor Lord to fight at ease. There was no need to worry that the Dragon Pool Manor would suffer from the aftershocks. He would naturally protect the manor. The Dragon Pool Manor Lord nodded, his killing intent surging. He stepped out and stared at Qin Wentian like he was looking at a dead man. A young world overlord wanted to challenge him. Seems like this Qin Wentian was a little too arrogant to the point where he didn't know the immensity of the heavens and earth. So what if Qin Wentian could freeze time and space? The prerequisite was that he had to be able to suppress his opponent's world heart. As a major character, there was no suspense in this battle against Qin Wentian. Qin Wentian would die for sure. At this instant, Qin Wentian saw the eyes of the Dragon Pool Manor Lord turning grey as a sense of death radiated from them. The entire world seemed to have turned dark, causing Qin Wentian to feel an extremely terrifying aura. Hegemonic existences could fuse multi-attribute source origins, creating an inconceivable heaven-heart mandate. They were definitely extremely powerful. The reason why Qin Wentian challenged the Dragon Pool Manor Lord was because he had no other choice. If the Dragon Pool Manor wasn't destroyed today, it would be a calamity for his Qingqing realm. Since he had formed a death grudge with a major character, he could only kill the other party. If not, there would be endless troubles in the future. Hence, for this battle, he would disregard everything and kill the Dragon Pool Manor Lord. Qin Wentian, even after you die, you will regret everything you have done today. It's you who implicated everyone around you. The Dragon Pool Manor Lord coldly transmitted his voice to Qin Wentian. Today, Qin Wentian slaughtered many people in the Dragon Pool Manor. This debt had to be settled. Qin Wentian's life wasn't enough. As the sound of his voice faded, he didn't plan to give Qin Wentian any chance at all. He directly unleashed his world heart, and in an instant, a world of darkness appeared. It was like the end of the world had arrived. Qin Wentian seemed to have fallen into the eyes of the Dragon Pool Manor Lord. The entire world turned grey, filled with an intense sense of death, like he was in hell. In his surroundings, there were no longer people. There was only an abyss of death that could devour everything. And the Dragon Pool Manor was the ruler of this abyss of death. Today, you will understand what it means to be a hegemonic level character. The Dragon Pool Manor Lord spoke. Qin Wentian's expression was cold, but his eyes were filled with resolution. He was more determined than ever before. For this battle, he could only win. Outside the world heart, everyone could see the scene in the air. The hell-like abyss of death enveloped Qin Wentian. Qin Wentian's body was completely enveloped by the Dragon Pool Manor Lord's world heart. There was basically no way for him to exit. There was only one possibility: he would die inside. Elder brother. Luo Shenlei's beautiful eyes flashed with worry. She transmitted her voice to Lifeless, Grandpa Lifeless, if he encounters danger, disregard everything and save him. She couldn't care so much, she also couldn't care about the Ziwei Divine Court. Her elder brother challenging a hegemonic level character was already an unfair battle. If something happened to him, disregard everything and save him. She knew that on Qin Wentian's shoulders, there was still hope for her father. The Dragon Pool Manor Lord's world heart is the abyss of death. Within it, no one can survive. This Qingqing Realm Lord truly doesn't know the immensity of the heavens and earth. A hegemonic level character from the Eastern Royal Immortal Realms calmly spoke. Dong Huangying coldly stared at everything. He is indeed courting death. He is too arrogant. A cold smile appeared on Yu Chankong's face. It was like he could already see Qin Wentian's death. This was the effect he wanted. The Dragon Pool Manor Lord would kill Qin Wentian. From now onwards, he would be the successor of the Time King. In the Dragon Pool Manor, countless experts inclined their heads and stared at the air, their eyes filled with hatred. All of them wanted Qin Wentian to die. The Dragon Pool Manor Lord stood in the abyss. He was like a divinity that controlled the abyss of death. His eyes flickered with the intent of death as he stared at Qin Wentian. Go to hell. As the sound of his voice faded, the abyss of death gushed towards Qin Wentian, wanting to engulf Qin Wentian within. Every strand of energy within the abyss contained a powerful death intent. Just a strand of its aura could kill, let alone the descent of the abyss of death. This was a doomsday. If the abyss of death enveloped an entire city, everyone in the city would instantly be turned into corpses. Qin Wentian released his heavenly fate world heart. It frenziedly gushed out, fusing into the abyss of death and actually fusing with the other party's world heart. Time stop. Qin Wentian spoke. The howling abyss seemed to slow down for a moment. But at the next instant, a terrifying energy erupted forth from the abyss, corroding it, breaking the stillness of time bit by bit. The black-colored abyss energy continued to invade, devouring the energy of time and space, wanting to devour it as well. Clearly, Qin Wentian's world heart wasn't of a higher grade compared to his opponent's world heart. There was no way for him to suppress it. The Dragon Pool Manor Lord stepped forward, getting closer to Qin Wentian. He wanted to see Qin Wentian despair, he wanted to see Qin Wentian die. Now is the time. An intense coldness gleamed in Qin Wentian's eyes. His heart was like still water, he had never been so calm before. Abruptly, an incomparably resplendent light erupted forth from his chest. The bones in his entire body radiated a transcendent energy. At this moment, Qin Wentian felt as though he was in control of everything. This was the control of time. He could clearly sense the formless flow of time, the river of time was slowly flowing. This formless energy seeped into the abyss of death, into the body of the Dragon Pool Manor Lord, enveloping him within. The Dragon Pool Manor Lord didn't sense it. Without time-attributed energy, how could he sense the flow of time? However, he could sense that Qin Wentian's body seemed to be undergoing a transformation. That resplendent light was like the might of the heavenly Tao, erupting forth with a divine glow. He faintly felt a sense of unease. His perception was extremely sharp, it felt like he was being invaded by some sort of mysterious energy. Time stop. Qin Wentian spoke the same words again. At this moment, the Dragon Pool Manor Lord's robes stopped fluttering. His black hair no longer fluttered, his fingers stiffened and his body had no way to move forward. He could sense all the changes happening to his body. His heartbeat had stopped, but his thoughts were unable to stop. How can this be possible? A horrified thought appeared in the Dragon Pool Manor Lord's mind. A feeling of despair appeared in his heart. He was actually frozen in time. How could Qin Wentian miss out on such an opportunity? At the instant he spoke, the power of his Heaven Heart mandate frenziedly erupted forth from his world heart. Beams of destructive light directly penetrated through the Dragon Pool Manor Lord's body. Qin Wentian stepped out and appeared before the Dragon Pool Manor Lord. The boundless energy from his world heart was all gathered in his fist. At this moment, Qin Wentian's fist contained all the energy from his world heart. After that, it abruptly erupted forth as he ferociously punched out towards the Dragon Pool Manor Lord. A destructive fist that could pierce through the heavens and earth slammed into the Dragon Pool Manor Lord's body. The Dragon Pool Manor Lord's body trembled violently. The frozen time seemed to have been broken apart by this punch. The eyes of the Dragon Pool Manor Lord were filled with intense terror. With a thunderous boom, that incomparably powerful body of his directly shattered into pieces. At this instant, the abyss of death instantly vanished. The body of the Dragon Pool Manor Lord also vanished along with it. When the space regained its calmness, only the white-robed figure was still standing there proudly, exuding an unparalleled aura. A single punch, killing a hegemonic-level character. No. The people of the Dragon Pool Manor all had looks of despair on their faces. They were filled with incomparable agony. The death of their Manor Lord caused them to sink into boundless despair. For those who entered the Time Realm together with the Dragon Pool Manor Lord, they only had fear in their hearts now. The world overlords in the surroundings were all shocked speechless by this single punch. Their hearts pounded violently. There was once a person in the mystic region who had a huge grudge with a major power in the Time Realm. After he came out, he directly destroyed that major power, leveling it to flat ground. Today, after the convention of the Myriad Realms, Qin Wentian walked out from the Time Realm. He wanted to destroy the Dragon Pool Manor, killing the hegemonic-level character, the Dragon Pool Manor Lord, with a single punch. There was once a person named Jian Junlai. Right now, he was a legendary character in the mystic region, the Sword Monarch. The person today, was none other than the Qingqing Realm Lord, Qin Wentian. History was shockingly similar. However, Jian Junlai had once obtained the Time King's inheritance while the successor of the Time King for the convention of the Myriad Realms this time around was actually Yu Changkong. Yu Changkong who was defeated by Qin Wentian. Chapter 1807. The major character from the Ziwei Divine Court stared at Qin Wentian. He also didn't expect that Qin Wentian would actually be able to kill the Dragon Pool Manor Lord. In the battle earlier, there seemed to be a treasure in his body that radiated a terrifying light, allowing him to unleash a supreme might, stopping time and killing with a single strike. A young world overlord who had cultivated for less than 1,000 years actually managed to kill a major character. What did this mean? This meant that Qin Wentian had immense potential and could become a heavenly deity. His talent wasn't inferior to Jian Junlai back then. However, he didn't choose the Ziwei Divine Court and chose the Tiandao Sacred Academy instead. If one were to say that Qin Wentian was in the wrong, this should be his only mistake. If he was willing to occupy the Constellation Lord position back then, the Ziwei Divine Court would be willing to nurture him on the same level as Yu Changkong. Yu Changkong's eyes narrowed, gleaming with coldness. How could this be? This had disrupted his plan. He initially thought that today would be the date of Qin Wentian's death. However, Qin Wentian actually gave everyone a pleasant surprise. He killed the Dragon Pool Manor Lord. In this case, there was no longer any excuse to keep Qin Wentian alive. The people from the Donghuang clan and Donghuang Ying froze. Donghuang Ying clenched her fists tightly, feeling a little uncomfortable because Qin Wentian had won. In the direction of the Tiandao Sacred Academy, the major character had a smile on his face. As expected of the successor of the Time King. A radiant smile appeared in Luo Shenlei's eyes. Her elder brother was truly an unparalleled character. His opponent wouldn't be someone like Yu Changkong, it would be that so-called Heaven Son from the Heaven region. They were then destined to be enemies. She grew more and more convinced that Qin Wentian would be able to reach that step. This was just like what her father believed. I'm convinced. 10 Mile Springwind speechlessly spoke. Qin Wentian could even accomplish this. Huh, old ghost, do you think you can win against Brother Qin? Chao Tianshao smiled as he glanced at Old Ghost beside him. Old Ghost narrowed his eyes and didn't reply. Phoenix also sighed in her heart. Qin Wentian was simply too outstanding. Back then when they were friends with Qin Wentian, they didn't expect him to be so outstanding to such an extent. It seemed that their friend was born extraordinary and was destined to become a legendary figure in the future. This was also what many world overlords in the surroundings were thinking. For this convention, if Yu Changkong was the most dazzling character before this, Qin Wentian should be able to surpass him now. If defeating Yu Changkong wasn't enough, what about killing the hegemonic level Dragon Pool Manor Lord? Qin Wentian's expression was as cold as ever. His gaze turned to the other world overlords of the Dragon Pool Manor. There were still many powerful characters in the Dragon Pool Manor, he couldn't spare them. His eyes flashed with killing intent, causing the hearts of those world overlords to tremble as their countenances turned pale. Although they had the advantage in numbers, a battle wasn't something that could be resolved with numbers. This was especially so for experts at the world overlord level. Qin Wentian relied on his World Heart and Heaven Heart mandate to kill the Dragon Pool Manor Lord. In that case, who else would be able to block the power of his World Heart? Do you all want to commit suicide or do you all want me to act personally? Qin Wentian coldly spoke. The gazes of those world overlords turned to the major characters of the Ziwei Divine Court. Right now, only the Ziwei Divine Court could save their Dragon Pool Manor. However, the major characters of the Ziwei Divine Court fell silent. Before this, he had already said that as long as the Luotian clan doesn't participate, the grudge between Qin Wentian and the Dragon Pool Manor would be settled. But now, if he spoke again, wouldn't that be smacking his own face? In addition, he truly had no reason to interfere in this matter. Young Master Yu. A world overlord glanced at Yu Changkong, his words causing Yu Changkong to frown. He then spoke, Qingqing Realm Lord, you have already gone overboard by starting a massacre in the Mystic region today. It's time for you to stop this matter. Qin Wentian coldly glanced at him. If you want to fight, you can do so yourself. But if you don't want to fight, just shut your mouth. There was nothing more direct than such humiliation. Yu Changkong, you don't have the qualifications to interrupt. Yu Changkong felt somewhat embarrassed but he didn't say anything. Upon seeing his silence, as well as sensing the sharp killing intent in Qin Wentian's eyes, that world overlord from the Dragon Pool Manor spoke, Qin Wentian, I have something to say. If you want to beg for mercy, there's no need for that. Qin Wentian coldly spoke. My Dragon Pool Manor's current situation is all thanks to you Changkong. That world overlord suddenly spoke, his words causing Qin Wentian's eyes to gleam with a terrifying coldness. Back then when the Dragon Pool Manor used such extreme methods to deal with him, he already felt that it was somewhat strange. Could it be that there was more to this than meets the eye? Yu Changkong's gaze suddenly turned sharp. What are you talking about? Yu Changkong, although you are now a disciple of the Ziwei Divine Court, since you caused my Dragon Pool Manor to be in such dire straits, I can only say this out loud. That world overlord continued, back then because Qin Wentian became a heavenly deity's disciple, our Dragon Pool Manor went to the Donghuang clan's palace to offer our congratulations. Not only did our Dragon Pool Manor go, many other powers did as well. Yu Changkong intentionally sought out the Manor Lord for a chat, hinting at the hatred between our Dragon Pool Manor and Qin Wentian. Yu Changkong also said that the Luotian clan of the Desolate region wouldn't be able to interfere in matters of the Mystic region. With the Ziwei Divine Court present, the Tiandao Sacred Academy has no reason to interfere in matters of the Mystic region. He also said that in the future, he would recommend the Dragon Pool Manor to become a subordinate power of the Ziwei Divine Court. Yu Changkong. Qin Wentian's eyes were cold to the extreme. In that case, not only did Yu Changkong reveal killing intent when he challenged him back then, after he became a heavenly deity's disciple and joined the Ziwei Divine Court, accomplishing his scheme, Yu Changkong still wasn't willing to spare him, the true successor of the Time King. He even hinted to the Dragon Pool Manor to kill him. In that case, other than the World Overlord and the Dragon Pool Manor Lord whom he killed, Yu Changkong was also the main culprit. Yu Changkong's despicableness has already surpassed the limits of Qin Wentian's tolerance. As expected of a despicable person. Chao Tian coldly spoke. I suggest the Ziwei Divine Court to investigate this person's character. Luo Shenlei also stared at Yu Changkong, her gaze was extremely cold. They all believed in the words of the Dragon Pool Manor's world overlord because today, the Ziwei Divine Court did indeed come here to stop the Luotian clan from acting. Also, the Dragon Pool Manor knew that the Dragon Pool Manor's methods would offend the Luotian clan and Tiandao Sacred Academy. But even so, the Dragon Pool Manor still chose to do so. This was very strange. If Yu Changkong had hinted to the Dragon Pool Manor, everything would be logical. Do you know the consequences of slandering a disciple of the Ziwei Divine Court? Yu Changkong coldly glanced at her. He naturally wouldn't admit to this. However, Dong Huangying's beautiful eyes turned to him. She thought back then when Yu Changkong was talking to the Dragon Pool Manor's secret agent. She once asked him what they talked about and Yu Changkong said that it was nothing. After that, the Dragon Pool Manor used extreme methods to assassinate Qin Wentian. She faintly felt that this was indeed done by Yu Changkong. Why did her fiancé want Qin Wentian to die? Was it because of that defeat and because of that, he was jealous of Qin Wentian? She wasn't willing to believe this. She only supported Yu Changkong because she felt that he was more outstanding. In her heart, she had always been biased towards him, giving up her friendship with Qin Wentian and agreeing to his marriage proposal. Even if Yu Changkong was defeated, she still believed that Yu Changkong, the successor of the Time King, would definitely be even more outstanding in the future and cleanse the humiliation. She didn't want to accept that Yu Changkong was jealous of Qin Wentian. Things have already reached this point. My Dragon Pool Manor suffered a calamity because of you, yet you acted indifferently and only said a few words. Since this is the case, I will naturally announce this matter publicly. There's no need for you to threaten me anymore. My Dragon Pool Manor is already in such a state, if the Ziwei Divine Court wants to do something, I have nothing to say. That expert's heart was like dead ashes. If they had to carry this secret to their deaths, they wouldn't be willing. I'll believe your words. Qin Wentian spoke. I killed the Dragon Pool Manor because your Dragon Pool Manor was too much of a bully. Not only did you want to kill me, you even wanted to kill my family and friends. But since the mastermind is Yu Changkong, I'll give you all a chance. I'm willing to spare you and the Dragon Pool Manor. However, the prerequisite is that you all have to make a blood oath. You can hate me, you can come and kill me, but you are not allowed to kill the people around me. If not, I will definitely cleanse the Dragon Pool Manor in blood. Qin Wentian's words caused the people of the Dragon Pool Manor to feel a glimmer of hope. This hatred was truly unforgettable. However, Qin Wentian said that he wouldn't stop them from seeking revenge against Qin Wentian. As long as they had the strength to do so, Qin Wentian didn't care. But the prerequisite was that they couldn't touch the people around him or he would cleanse the entire Dragon Pool Manor in blood. Are you all willing? Qin Wentian asked. Since you are so courageous, we are naturally willing to make the oath. If I take revenge on the people around you, Qin Wentian, the Dragon Pool Manor will definitely be annihilated. A world overlord made the oath. After that, the other world overlords of the Dragon Pool Manor respectively expressed their stance. Qin Wentian could be considered to have spared them. After knowing that the mastermind was Yu Changkong, he was actually willing to spare them. What else could they be unhappy about? Naturally, they wouldn't be grateful to Qin Wentian. This grudge still existed. If they had the ability, they would definitely kill Qin Wentian for revenge. Senior from the Tiandao Sacred Academy, please bear witness for me. Qin Wentian stared at the major character from the Tiandao Sacred Academy as he spoke. Right. In the future, if the Dragon Pool Manor breaks the oath, my Tiandao Sacred Academy will act. That major character nodded. The people of the Dragon Pool Manor were in a desperate situation. All of them felt hope. After knowing the truth, compared to Qin Wentian, they also hated Yu Changkong. Qin Wentian wanting to take revenge was within reason because the Dragon Pool Manor Lord wanted to kill others. But all of this was instigated by Yu Changkong. At the very end, he actually chose to watch from the sidelines. Qin Wentian slowly turned his gaze over and stared at Yu Changkong. At this moment, his killing intent was extremely sharp. He then turned to the major character from the Ziwei Divine Court. Senior, you should have heard the words of the Dragon Pool Manor. In that case, this is a grudge between me and Yu Changkong. I want to have a life and death battle with Yu Changkong. Senior won't stop me, right? That major character's expression froze. He stared at Qin Wentian and coldly spoke, a bunch of nonsense. The people of the Dragon Pool Manor are willing to do anything in order to survive, slandering others. Could it be that this is the truth? Right now, Yu Changkong was the personal disciple of his senior brother. How could he allow such a stain on his reputation to be tarnished? This would cause his senior brother's reputation to be tarnished. In that case, even with such a life and death grudge, senior still wants to protect him. Qin Wentian spoke. Qingqing Realm Lord, mind your status. The major character from the Ziwei Divine Court coldly spoke. Ha ha ha. Qin Wentian suddenly laughed uproariously. What a good mind your status. Since senior from the Ziwei Divine Court wants to stop me, I naturally wouldn't dare to act. It's just that there's something I have to remind senior. How can the Ziwei Divine Court be so certain that in the Time Realm, the voice message left behind by the Time King was left behind for Yu Changkong? Chapter 1808. As the sound of Qin Wentian's voice faded, the entire space turned silent. He said, was the Ziwei Divine Court so certain that the ancient Time King's voice was left behind for Yu Changkong? What did these words mean? Back then in the Time Realm, when Qin Wentian was arguing with Yu Changkong, he had also said something similar. Qin Wentian once said, Yu Changkong said that he obtained the ancient Time King's inheritance and you guys believe him? But what if I said that I obtained the ancient Time King's inheritance? At that time, everyone treated this as a joke, feeling that Qin Wentian was slandering Yu Changkong when they were arguing. In truth, Qin Wentian's tone back then was indeed very casual. But today, Qin Wentian actually said such a sentence again. Also, he said this to a major character of the Ziwei Divine Court. At this moment, who could ignore Qin Wentian's words? Just earlier, Qin Wentian killed the Manor Lord of the Dragon Pool Manor, a hegemonic level character. In addition, the ability he used was precisely the power of time stop. His time stop ability even caused the Dragon Pool Manor Lord to be stopped. How powerful was this? The major character of the Ziwei Divine Court, Yu Chankong's martial uncle, actually trembled because of a single sentence from Qin Wentian. His eyes gleamed with a terrifying light as he stared at Qin Wentian. As for the people of the Donghuang clan, their hearts trembled. This was especially so for Dong Huangying. Her expression instantly changed. Impossible, this is impossible. Dong Huangying's heart screamed. She didn't believe Qin Wentian's words. Or more accurately, she was hinting to herself not to believe Qin Wentian's words. The major character of the Tiandao Sacred Academy had a smile on his face. 10 Mile Springwind and the others froze as they stared at Qin Wentian, who was in the air. After that, 10 Mile Springwind and Chao Tian exchanged mutual glances. They could see the shock in each other's eyes. After that, their expressions became extremely fascinating. If the truth was like what they guessed, this matter was simply too interesting. Wouldn't the faces of the Ziwei Divine Court and Donghuang clan be smack swollen? Yu Chankong's eyes narrowed as his expression changed. However, he swiftly adjusted himself and acted like nothing had happened. He stared at Qin Wentian as though what Qin Wentian said had nothing to do with him. However, at this moment, he even had the heart to kill. Why did he want to borrow the Dragon Pool Manor to kill Qin Wentian? It was precisely because he was afraid that this matter would be exposed. However, the Dragon Pool Manor failed to live up to his expectations and failed twice. They even sold him out, causing Qin Wentian to be enraged. What do you mean by that? The major character of the Ziwei Divine Court coldly asked, his eyes staring fixedly at Qin Wentian. Senior, you can understand it yourself. I'm only reminding Senior. Back then when the ancient king of time left behind his voice, who knows who he was talking to? Yu Changkong said that the voice came from the future, I said that the voice came from the past. So what of it? Who knows? Qin Wentian calmly smiled, his eyes gleaming with coldness. He initially wanted Yu Changkong to act as his substitute. If Yu Changkong didn't antagonize him, he basically wouldn't care about Yu Changkong. However, Yu Changkong challenged the limits of his patience. In that case, if the matter of him lying to the Ziwei Divine Court and the Donghuang clan was exposed, what would the consequences be? Since the Ziwei Divine Court wanted to protect Yu Changkong, fine. He wouldn't act. He wanted to see what the Ziwei Divine Court and the Donghuang clan would do. Back then, I already felt that it was strange. Why did Yu Changkong keep targeting Qin Wentian and wanted to challenge him? Now, he even hinted to the Dragon Pool Manor to kill Brother Qin. Now that I think about it, everything is truly thought-provoking. 10 Mile Springwind laughed. His casual voice seemed to connect many clues together. If one thought about it in this direction, many things would be very easy to understand. Clap, clap. A crisp sound rang out. Clap, clap. A crisp sound rang out. The gazes of everyone froze as they turned over to the source of the sound. It was actually Yu Changkong who was applauding. His handsome face had a faint smile on it, as though he didn't mind it at all. He calmly spoke, Brother Qin's methods are excellent. I once fought against Brother Qin and I know that I'm not his opponent. Who would have thought that in terms of scheming, I'm so far inferior compared to Brother Qin? This method of sowing discord, killing people without seeing blood. I've said it before, don't call me Brother Qin. Don't you find it disgusting? Qin Wentian coldly spoke. A person who schemed to kill him actually kept referring to him as Brother Qin. This caused Qin Wentian to feel extremely uncomfortable. Even at this moment, he can still call me Brother Qin. From this, one can see how scheming this person is. It wouldn't be an exaggeration to say that he is shameless. Chao Tian calmly spoke. Wentian's words back then are truly true. This person is simply too hypocritical. With such a character, I wonder what methods he used to deceive the Ziwei divine court. At this moment, the crowd was starting to believe Qin Wentian's words more and more. If all of this wasn't done by Yu Changkong, shouldn't he be infuriated that Qin Wentian was slandering him? Yet, he still dared to call Yu Changkong Brother Qin. It wasn't wrong to say that Yu Changkong's schemes were extremely deep. Could it be that the publicly acknowledged supreme genius of this convention, Yu Changkong, was actually a shameless scum who deceived the heavens and the earth? A liar? If this was the case, wasn't this a little too comical? Not only did he deceive the world overlords of the convention, he even deceived the Donghuang clan and even the lofty heavenly deities of the Ziwei divine court. However, this couldn't be said to be ignorant. It was just that after the Time Monument inscription left behind by the ancient Time King, no one stood out to admit it. Only Yu Changkong stood out. In addition, he himself was proficient in time-attributed energy, and when he spoke about the Time Monument inscription, his words were clear and logical. Under such a situation, who would still doubt him? The experts here basically wouldn't think in this direction and would suspect that he was a fake. At this moment, Yu Changkong was forcefully suppressing his anger. At this moment, he wanted nothing more than to tear Qin Wentian into 1,000 pieces. However, a smile could still be seen on his face as he spoke. From Brother Qin's words, you seem to be hinting that the person who obtained the inheritance is you. Since this is the case, Brother Qin, why don't you show everyone what kind of inheritance you obtained? I didn't say anything, I'm just casually reminding seniors from the Ziwei divine court. If senior doesn't mind, you can just pretend you didn't hear this. Qin Wentian calmly spoke. But the more he acted like this, the more suspicious people would be. Unless Yu Changkong could use time-attributed energy to defeat Qin Wentian, no matter if it was the Ziwei divine court or the Donghuang clan, their suspicions towards him would never be dispelled. And if he wanted to use time-attributed energy to defeat Qin Wentian, was it possible for Qin Wentian who could kill the Dragon Pool Manor Lord? Yu Changkong didn't even dare to accept the challenge. Dong Huangying's beautiful eyes kept changing. She clenched her fists and bit her red lips. Finally, she couldn't endure it any longer and transmitted her voice to Qin Wentian. Qin Wentian, is the person who obtained the Time King's inheritance really you? Qin Wentian turned his gaze over and stared at Dong Huangying. If it was said that back then he treated Dong Huangying as a friend because she tried to rope him in, but after so many things happened after that, he no longer had any good impression of Dong Huangying. In fact, he even felt a hint of disgust. This woman was extremely snobbish. When she was already friends with him, she basically didn't know Yu Changkong at all. And after Yu Changkong admitted that he was the successor of the Time King, he intentionally revealed a hint of interest towards her. Her attitude towards Yu Changkong and him instantly changed. It was fine if there was no conflict between him and Yu Changkong. But after that happened, she chose to trust Yu Changkong unreservedly. As for this so-called friend of hers, she could only mock and ridicule him. In fact, even the Donghuang clan and Ziwei divine court acted to stop the Luotian clan from helping him. She was the same as the others in the Donghuang clan, gloating at his misfortune as he fought against the Dragon Pool Manor Lord alone. Most probably, she was the same as Yu Changkong, waiting for him to be defeated and killed by the Dragon Pool Manor Lord. With regards to such a woman, it was very hard for Qin Wentian to have any good impression of her. There was only disgust. Little princess, if you have anything to say, you can just say it directly. There's no need to send a voice transmission. I heard that Yu Changkong is now the son-in-law of the Donghuang clan and has a marriage agreement with Little Princess. Others can doubt Yu Changkong, but Little Princess, as his fiancée, back then before the marriage agreement was established, you trusted him so much. Why is there a need to doubt him now? You should trust him as much as before. Qin Wentian calmly spoke, his tone filled with mockery. Dong Huangying thought of the reminder Qin Wentian gave her. There was a problem with Yu Chankong's character. At that time, Qin Wentian seemed to be hinting at her. However, she felt that Qin Wentian was jealous of Yu Chankong and he had always felt this way. But what about now? Qin Wentian had long defeated Yu Chankong and now, he even killed a hegemonic level character. Did he need to be jealous of Yu Chankong? Why did he say that Yu Chankong's character had a problem back then? Everything was so clear. It was just that she still wasn't willing to admit it. When Yu Chankong heard Qin Wentian's words, his expression couldn't help but change. His gaze turned cold. Dong Huangying actually transmitted her voice to Qin Wentian, suspecting him. Even his fiancée was suspecting him. In that case, what would the others feel when they heard this? As expected, at this moment, the gazes of countless people turned to him and Dong Huangying. Even Yu Chankong's woman started to doubt him. Seems like this Yu Chankong has truly lied to everyone. In addition, he even obtained the recognition of a heavenly deity and was accepted as a disciple. His guts were truly great. Have you been impudent enough? An expert from the Ziwei divine court coldly spoke. He stared at Qin Wentian and icily spoke, slandering a disciple of the divine court, aren't you a little too arrogant? On account of the fact that you are from the Tiandao Sacred Academy, I won't make things difficult for you. But if you still dare to speak so arrogantly in the future, don't blame me for being impolite. Everything today shall end here. Yu Chankong has already obtained the recognition of my senior brother and obtained the inheritance of the Time King. There's no need to doubt him. Instead of attacking each other because of personal grudges, why don't you go back and focus on your cultivation? The major character from the Ziwei divine court coldly spoke. After that, he glanced at Yu Chankong, Chankong, follow me back to the divine court. Yu Chankong's body trembled. He nodded and shot a venomous glance at Qin Wentian. After that, the two of them actually left directly. At this moment, everyone understood what this meant. The other party's denial at the very last moment was merely to protect the face of the Ziwei divine court. After that, he brought Yu Chankong away. Everything was very clear. This time, when Yu Chankong returned to the Ziwei divine court, what kind of interrogation would he receive? Most probably, his ending would be extremely miserable. Today, the Ziwei divine court did everything they could to obstruct Qin Wentian's revenge. However, a single sentence from Qin Wentian was sufficient to cause the Ziwei divine court to be embarrassed. Dong Huangying stared at Yu Chankong who was being brought away. Her body trembled violently as her expression turned ashen. Her chastity already belonged to Yu Chankong. Her Prince Charming was actually a swindler who deceived the world to gain fame. What did everything before count for? Chapter 1809. Many people could see Dong Huangying's expression. Their gazes were filled with pity when they looked at her. The little princess of the Dong Huang clan, even if she didn't have Yu Chankong's identity, she would still be extremely dazzling and have an extraordinary status. In the future, her husband would surely be an outstanding character. Back then, after the Dong Huang clan agreed to Yu Chankong's marriage proposal, how lively was the Dong Huang clan's royal palace. How glorious was Dong Huangying. Everyone felt that they were a perfect match. World overlords all went to congratulate her. But what about now? Her fiancé was actually a swindler. In that case, what should they do about this marriage? If Yu Chankong didn't lie to everyone, leaving aside the fact that he obtained the Time King's inheritance, just based on his talent alone, he would be extremely compatible with Dong Huangying. But the problem was that Yu Chankong obtained the Dong Huang clan's recognition through deception. In that case, would the Dong Huang clan still accept him now? Would Dong Huangying be able to endure such a great disparity? Her fiancé was a supreme genius, the disciple of a heavenly deity. Yet, he instantly fell into hell and became a swindler. Such a marriage was like a joke. In addition, Yu Changkong had always been staying in the royal palace of the Donghuang clan. In that case, most probably, something already happened between Dong Huangying and Yu Changkong. In that case, would this little princess of the Donghuang clan still be able to match up to those supreme geniuses in the future? Such a character, who would still be able to accept her? From now on, it was unknown how many people would roll their eyes at her and mock her in the dark. One step to heaven, one step to hell. How sad and lamentable. For those who were deceived, they merely went to congratulate them. No one would remember those world overlords. However, the Donghuang clan was clearly the one that suffered the most. Among them, Dong Huangying suffered the most, followed by the Ziwei divine court. As a hegemonic power at the peak of the mystic region, a heavenly deity was deceived. Also, this was because he was protecting Yu Changkong against Qin Wentian and was exposed by Qin Wentian. This was truly a smacking of face. Hence, even before he left, that major character from the Ziwei divine court still said that Qin Wentian was speaking nonsense. His purpose was merely to protect the face of the Ziwei divine court and his heavenly deity senior brother. As for what the truth was, he most probably already knew it in his heart. In addition, after they brought Yu Changkong back to the divine court, they would have too many methods to interrogate him. Yu Changkong's ending was hard to predict. I once treated you as a friend. Since you knew the truth, why didn't you tell me directly? Dong Huangying's pale expression was extremely unsightly to behold. Her beautiful eyes flickered with resentment as she stared at Qin Wentian. Right now, she clearly already believed that the God King's inheritance wasn't obtained by Yu Changkong but by Qin Wentian. However, she still only felt resentment towards Qin Wentian. If Qin Wentian had told her back then, all of this wouldn't have happened. Qin Wentian felt somewhat speechless as he stared at Dong Huangying. She actually dared to question him in such a righteous manner. This sounded truly ridiculous. Even 10-Mile Springwind laughed. Dong Huangying, do you truly treat Brother Qin as a friend? Or should I say, the so-called friend in your eyes is so worthless? When Yu Changkong expressed a hint of goodwill towards you, you completely forgot about the word friend. I still remember back then when Brother Qin and Yu Changkong had a conflict. What attitude did you have? You couldn't have forgotten about it, right? Brother Qin didn't even tell us about this. Why would he tell you? Phoenix calmly spoke, mocking. This matter was originally Qin Wentian's own secret. Did he really have to tell you, Dong Huangying? Even if he wants to tell you, it would depend on whether you are worthy or not. Chao Tian mocked. This woman actually hated Qin Wentian instead. How ridiculous. I don't understand what truth little princess is speaking of. I only know that back then when little princess came into contact with Yu Changkong, I've already reminded little princess that Yu Changkong's character has problems. If little princess treats me as a friend, you should believe my words and not feel that I'm jealous of Yu Changkong and intentionally belittled him. Qin Wentian calmly replied. As for the matter of the God King's inheritance, from the start to the end, he didn't personally admit that he obtained it. It's up to you all what you think. But I won't admit it. 10-Mile Springwind and the others were speechless as they stared at Qin Wentian. This fellow truly hid his achievements and fame. Was he not afraid of being struck by lightning? Dong Huangying's countenance turned even paler. Qin Wentian had indeed reminded her before and he had reminded her several times. At that time, her heart was only filled with Yu Changkong, her destined husband. How could she have cared about Qin Wentian's words? Why is there a need to bother with such a woman? At this moment, Luo Shenlei walked over and spoke to Qin Wentian. Qin Wentian, the matters here have been settled. I'm preparing to return to the desolate region. She came here to bid farewell. It was time for her to leave. This time around, the Luotian clan and Qin Wentian worked together to deal with the Dragon Pool Manor. But she could say that it was because the Dragon Pool Manor had once offended the Luotian clan's prestige. This was the truth. But from now on, she mustn't be too close to Qin Wentian on the surface. If not, others would suspect her. I'm preparing to return to the Qingqing realm first before heading to the Tiandao Sacred Academy. Miss Luotian, I wonder when we would meet again. Take care on your journey. Qin Wentian spoke. Emicham, farewell. Luotian Lei nodded. After that, she turned and departed with Lifeless and the others. At the same time, she transmitted her voice, Elder brother, I'm leaving. I hope you can come to the Luotian clan to visit me as soon as possible. Lei take good care of uncle. Qin Wentian transmitted his voice in reply. Luotian Lei nodded. Her figure gradually vanished, causing many people to feel a sense of disappointment and frustration. That supreme beauty from the Luotian clan was the daughter of a heavenly deity, a young miss of the Luotian clan. Her status was even more outstanding compared to Dong Huangying. Although she only appeared briefly in the mystic region, many people still remembered her. Brother Qin, this Miss Luotian Lei seems to have some feelings for you. Her background is much more noble compared to some people. Why don't you consider wooing her? Haha. 10-Mile Springwind spoke in a shameless manner. Qin Wentian glared at him, but he was long used to 10-Mile Springwind's shamelessness. Dong Huangying's expression froze. Who was this some people referring to? Given Luotian Lei's status, it was indeed much more noble compared to her. Also, Luotian Lei's birth determined that there was no need for her to rely on men to raise her status. Let's leave. The people of the Donghuang clan had lost all face today. If they stayed here, they would only be mocked by others. Right now, many people were looking at them with gazes that made them feel extremely uncomfortable. Dong Huangying was a little dazed. She cast a deep glance at Qin Wentian and left with the people of the Donghuang clan, feeling an intense sense of regret in her heart. Qin Wentian was the true extraordinary character fated to be born in the mystic region. He was the future monarch. As for her, she had already obtained his friendship, but it was destroyed by her own hands. In fact, there was even hatred between the two of them. How laughable was all of this? Sometimes, life was like a dream, so surreal. After Dong Huangying and the others left, 10-Mile Springwind spoke to Qin Wentian. Wentian, are you really preparing to leave and not stay for a period of time? I've been out for a period of time. It's about time for me to return to the Qingqing realm. Qin Wentian spoke. Right, there's no banquet that never ends in life. We will naturally meet again in the future. 10-Mile Springwind smiled. He was staying in Time City and was running an inn. He naturally wouldn't leave. Maybe when I meet Brother Qin again, Brother Qin would already be a monarch character. The beautiful eyes of the phoenix smiled. Qin Wentian wouldn't be able to cultivate for 1,000 years, and the convention of the myriad realms was held once every 10,000 years. It was very normal for them to meet once every 10,000 years. Only heaven knew how strong Qin Wentian would be by then. If that's the case, I would be someone who was a bandit together with the monarch. In the future, I can use this as a topic of conversation in the inn to collect more fees. 10-Mile Springwind laughed uproariously. The faces of Qin Wentian and the others were all filled with black lines. Qin Wentian, when you come to the Tiandao Sacred Academy, you can directly inform me. The major character of the Tiandao Sacred Academy spoke to Qin Wentian. Right, Junior will definitely head there. Qin Wentian replied. I will make a move first. That major character nodded to Qin Wentian. After that, the people of the Tiandao Sacred Academy left. After sending off the experts of the Tiandao Sacred Academy with his gaze, Qin Wentian turned to the people of the Dragon Pool Manor. Don't forget the oath you guys made. As for me, I will wait for you guys to come and take revenge anytime. The expressions of the experts from the Dragon Pool Manor were extremely complicated when they stared at Qin Wentian. This person killed their manor lord, causing the Dragon Pool Manor to suffer a calamity. Yet in the end, he still chose to spare them, not killing the weeds by the roots and waiting for them to take revenge. If they tossed aside their hatred, such magnanimity were truly admirable. However, they were destined to be enemies. Although they were destined to be enemies, would their Dragon Pool Manor really be able to take revenge? Qin Wentian was the true successor of the Time King, a future monarch character. Did the Dragon Pool Manor still want to continue assassinating him? What if he changed his mind one day and destroyed the Dragon Pool Manor with a wave of his hand? Most probably, they would never be able to take revenge for this. Go, let's return to the inn. Today, we won't return until we are drunk. 10 Miles Springwind spoke. Qin Wentian nodded. After that, the group of them returned to the 10 Miles Inn. Today, 10 Miles Springwind actually took out a lot of wine. The few of them drank for an entire night, truly not returning until they were drunk. On the second day, 10 Miles Springwind and the others directly lay down in the pavilion. The morning breeze gusted by, feeling a little cold. 10 Miles Springwind, who was lying on the ground, opened his eyes. Old Ghost, Chao Tian and Phoenix had both woken up. Where is he? 10 Miles Springwind asked. He has already left. He brought his family with him. Chao Tian replied. It wasn't easy for us to meet each other. I didn't expect that back then. I actually became friends with a future monarch. 10 Miles Springwind laughed. Old Ghost, what do you think? Phoenix asked. His talent isn't inferior to Jian Junlai. It's only a matter of time before he becomes a heavenly deity. Old Ghost narrowed his eyes. Life is like a dream. 10 Miles Springwind laughed. Life is like a dream, why don't we drink until we are drunk? How much good wine do you still have? Before we leave, take it out and share it with everyone. There's no need to be reluctant. Chao Tian spoke. Scram. 10 Miles Springwind's expression instantly turned black. Chapter 18:10. The Qinqing realm was the same as before. Given Qin Wentian's current prestige, there naturally wouldn't be any huge waves in the Qinqing realm. Right now in the Qinqing realm, Yi Qianyu was in charge of everything. Naturally, most of the time, she only needed to give out orders in the Qinqing Saint Hall. The specific matters would be carried out by her subordinates. As for the 9 world palaces, they were all managed by their respective world palaces. The Qinqing Saint Hall naturally wouldn't be as lively as the lifelong Saint Hall. The lifelong Realm Lord's harem was filled with beauties. But after Qin Wentian brought Qing'er and Qinqing with him, there was only a single female lord in the Qinqing Saint Hall. At this moment, in a certain area of the Qinqing Saint Hall, a beautiful figure quietly stood there, her beautiful eyes staring into the distance. She exuded magnificence through the generations, her sexy figure and beautiful countenance didn't exude a sense of nobility. She was like a queen who could bewitch the masses. This person was none other than Yi Qianyu. Right now, her beautiful eyes flickered with anticipation. She had already received a message from Qin Wentian that he would be arriving soon. Finally, the wind and clouds in the sky started to churn. After which, intense spatial fluctuations could be felt as a group of silhouettes directly descended from the spatial gate, arriving in the air above. The person in the lead was clad in white robes, his entire body untainted by even a speck of dust. Compared to when he left, the aura he exuded seemed to have changed slightly. It was as though he had become even more extraordinary. Yi Qianyu's beautiful eyes flashed with a smile. In an instant, the scenery in the world seemed to lose its color. Qin Wentian's silhouette flashed and appeared beside her. He smiled, "Why are you waiting outside?" Yi Qianyu's beautiful eyes stared at him with hidden bitterness. Her expression caused Qin Wentian to feel a little guilty. Everyone laughed when they saw this scene. Many people silently left, giving time to Qin Wentian and his 3 wives. Very soon, only Qin Wentian and his 3 wives remained. Wentian, I have some things to say to elder sister Qin. I will return first. She held on to Qin Er's hand and left this place. They accompanied Qin Wentian to participate in the convention of the myriad realms together, but only Yi Qianyu stayed here. Given Qingqing's understanding nature, she would naturally give Yi Qianyu some time. Even Qingqing is more considerate than you. Yi Qianyu smiled at Qin Wentian. Who said that? Qin Wentian stretched out his hand, gently caressing Yi Qianyu's hair as he spoke in a gentle voice. How have you been recently? Everything is fine, except for a certain someone. Yi Qianyu pouted. Then I'll make it up to you for the next few days. Qin Wentian gently spoke. Before Yi Qianyu could continue complaining, she was directly carried up by Qin Wentian. After being stunned for a moment, she obediently leaned into Qin Wentian's embrace, allowing him to carry her back to the Qingqing realm. The news of the realm lord's return soon circulated. Other than Nanfeng Yaoyue and the others who followed Qin Wentian, the desolate Heaven Palace, Xianyuan Palace, and Helan Palace lords all came to the Qingqing realm to pay their respects. Right now, Qin Wentian's authority was even higher compared to the lifelong realm lord back then. When they arrived at the lifelong Saint Hall, they soon received another piece of news. Quite a few palace lords who participated in the convention with Qin Wentian, as well as the people around him, have all broken through, transcending the Empyrean realm and entered the legendary World Overlord realm that could only be seen from afar. This realm was on the same level as the lifelong realm lord. Right now in the Qingqing realm, there were quite a few of them who followed Qin Wentian to participate in the convention of the myriad realms. After everyone learned of this news, one could very well imagine the shock in their hearts. They could only hate themselves for not being Qin Wentian's trusted aides. The current Qingqing realm lord was much more outstanding compared to the lifelong realm lord back then. They basically couldn't be mentioned in the same breath. Qin Wentian only met with them once and ignored them. After all, what status did Qin Wentian have? He was a realm lord and naturally had the prestige of a realm lord. Back then when he was a palace lord, could it be that he could meet with the lifelong realm lord whenever he wanted to? Clearly, it was impossible. He was very busy, how would he have the time to meet with his subordinates for no reason? Next, other than accompanying his beauties, he still had to stabilize his cultivation base. After that, he would set off for the Tiandao Sacred Academy. The various palace lords naturally wouldn't have any complaints. Jialan Zhangshan directly stayed in the Jialan clan and didn't return to the Jialan palace. He would often bring Jialan Chuyue to the Qingqing realm to pay a visit. Even if he couldn't meet with Qin Wentian, he still wanted to familiarize himself with him. Their Jialan clan's relationship with Qin Wentian was somewhat different. During these few days, many experts suddenly appeared in the Qingqing realm. It was rumored that there were many Empyreans among them. In fact, there were even people who saw that these Empyreans were extremely respectful to them, treating them as subordinates. For the next period of time, more and more experts arrived. The people in the lead were all extremely imposing experts with unfathomable cultivation bases. Among them, Empyreans were as common as the clouds. In the top-grade inns and restaurants in Qingqing, there would often be such rumors. These people were all staying here. For a period of time, the entire city was shaken. Everyone was guessing who these people were and what they wanted to do by coming to the Qingqing realm. Very swiftly, even more shocking news circulated out. The person in the lead was actually a world overlord character. There were people who saw them meeting each other and referring to each other as world overlords. Such a major news instantly caused a huge commotion in the city. The Xianyuan Palace was shaken, the Jialan clan was shaken, all the peak powers in the city were shaken as they felt a sense of unease. Could it be that their world overlords had caused trouble outside? So many world overlords came to the Qingqing realm. They heard that the realm lord went to participate in the convention of the myriad realms in the mystic region. Did he offend someone? The people of the Qingqing realm didn't forget how Qin Wentian became the Qingqing realm lord. He fought his way up step by step and was definitely someone who liked to cause trouble. Back then, he had caused a huge commotion. In the Jialan clan, a group of core characters gathered together. Why are you putting on airs? You can't even meet him. After becoming a world overlord, things are different. Jialan Chuyue's beautiful eyes flashed with bitterness as she grumbled. Jialan Yuntian wanted to find out what happened exactly, but he basically couldn't meet Qin Wentian. Don't talk nonsense. Chuyue, you should know his current status. Why don't you try to get in contact with Di Tian? Jialan Jiangshan spoke. I'm not going. Jialan Chuyue shook her head, feeling complicated in her heart. Father. At this moment, Jialan Yunhai came over and called out, I just received news that something major is going to happen. Those major powers in the city actually gathered together and are currently heading towards the direction of the lifelong Saint Hall. Who are they exactly? What's going on? Jialan Jiangshan's eyes flashed. They came from different places. Right now, the rumors have already been confirmed. There are quite a few powerful world overlords among them, and all of them are world overlords of their own territories. They are currently leading their troops to the Qingqing realm. Jialan Yunhai spoke. He then continued, for this trip, they seem to only have a single purpose. That is the Qingqing Saint Hall. Jialan Jiangshan's eyes flashed with sharpness. Could it be that something was really going to happen? The arrival of so many world overlords together at the Qingqing Saint Hall caused him to feel very uneasy. If Qin Wentian really offended a major character outside, the Qingqing realm would no longer be at peace. What are they going to do? Did you manage to find out? Jialan Yuntian's eyes twitched as he asked. I don't know yet. I'm still sending people to monitor them and report back. Jialan Yunhai replied. This is an opportunity. Although the world overlord is known to cause trouble, he is definitely a heaven-defying genius. Many of his subordinates have already broken through to the world overlord realm. If we want to become his trusted aides, we have to experience some things first. Let's go, we can head to the Qingqing Saint Hall now. Jialan Jiangshan spoke as he prepared to move out. Jialan Yunhai's eyes flashed. How could they interfere in the matters of world overlords? They were merely going there to express their loyalty. Wasn't his father afraid that he might be implicated? Not only for the Jialan clan, everyone in the vast city was paying attention to this matter. This news was too shocking, causing huge waves of commotion. The world overlords from the various regions all gathered together and headed towards the direction of the Qingqing Saint Hall. This was definitely going to be a heaven-shaking event. Countless people also headed towards the Qingqing Saint Hall. They wanted to see what was going to happen exactly. Today, the sun was shining brightly and there was a light breeze in the air, causing people to feel extremely comfortable. However, the people in the city were all extremely tense. Some governors have already arrived outside the Qingqing Saint Hall, preparing to deal with the impending storm. At the foot of the flight of stairs leading to the Qingqing Saint Hall, countless experts gathered. Their gazes were all focused on a single location, at a group of people who were flying over from afar. The people in the lead all exuded an extraordinary aura and were extremely imposing. They were all lofty experts of their respective regions. They are here. The hearts of everyone trembled. Gotcha. Many people clenched their fists tightly, feeling incomparably nervous. This time around, what sort of storm would there be? At this moment in the lifelong Saint Hall, many people were waiting in formation, feeling uneasy. Even Yi Qianyu felt uneasy. Her beautiful eyes stared at Qin Wentian. The various world overlords have already arrived outside the lifelong Saint Hall. What are they doing here? How would I know? Qin Wentian shook his head and bitterly smiled. How would he know what the people outside were doing here? You wouldn't be causing trouble again, right? Yi Qianyu felt somewhat speechless when she saw how relaxed Qin Wentian was. Even she felt a little uneasy. Elder sister Qianyu, don't worry. Nothing will happen. Mo Qingqing smiled. They had experienced many storms and waves in the convention. Although she didn't know the exact reason why these world overlords came here, she understood that they definitely weren't here to cause trouble. They didn't have the guts to do so. Most probably, there weren't many people in the mystic region who would have the guts to do so. Really? Yi Qianyu's beautiful eyes stared at Mo Qingqing. Qingqing, tell me then. What are they doing here? I have no idea as well. Mo Qingqing's beautiful eyes blinked. She stared at Yi Qianyu's scrutinizing gaze as an innocent expression appeared on her face. She truly had no idea. At this moment, below the stairway, the experts from the various powers all halted their steps and stared in the direction of the Qingqing Saint Hall. At this moment, the hearts of countless people were extremely tense. The figures of the Jialan clan flashed over. Jialan Zhongshan spoke, we made it in time. Seems like something major is going to happen. Everyone turned their gazes to the experts from the mystic region, waiting for the storm to arrive. The seven luminaries Realm Lord of the Mystic Region is here to pay my respects to Senior Qingqing Realm Lord. At this moment, a world overlord called out in the direction of the Qingqing Saint Hall. The Wuwang Realm Lord is here to pay my respects to Senior Qingqing Realm Lord. A second voice rang out. The Blazing Sun Realm Lord is here to pay my respects to Senior Qingqing Realm Lord. A second voice rang out. Voices rose and fell, echoing down the stairs of the Qingqing Temple. At this moment, the heavens and earth were silent, only the heartbeat of the crowd could be heard. Chapter 1811. The various world overlords led their experts here, but they didn't come here for revenge like what many people thought. They came here to pay their respects. The various world overlords all referred to the Qingqing Realm Lord as Senior. What did this mean? Qin Wentian just returned from the convention of the myriad realms and the world overlords came here to pay their respects. This meant that their Qingqing Realm Lord had accomplished some glorious deeds during the convention. This was why so many world overlords came here to pay their respects. If not, why would other world overlords come to pay their respects to him? Also, they came in groups. From this, one could see that the weight of a single world overlord wasn't enough. Jialan Zhongshan's gaze froze, he was completely dumbstruck and speechless. After that, he silently mused in his heart that he had truly aged. He only thought that Qin Wentian might have caused trouble, but he didn't think about how famous Qin Wentian was. Because, he didn't even dare to imagine that a world overlord who ascended to the throne not long ago would have such glorious deeds. Comparing the lifelong realm lord to Qin Wentian was simply an insult to Qin Wentian. They weren't characters on the same level at all. Jialan Chuyue's beautiful eyes also froze as her heart trembled. After that, a hint of disappointment flashed through her eyes. This was Qin Wentian, the Qingqing Realm Lord Qin Wentian. He once defeated the Lifeire Empyrean in a single battle and replaced him. After that, he killed the lifelong Realm Lord and replaced him. Now, after he returned from the convention of the myriad realms, so many world overlords came to pay their respects to him. What sort of talent was this? Who would be able to obstruct his footsteps? Most probably, this was what it meant by supreme. Outside the Qingqing Saint Hall, experts were as common as the clouds. The spectators were countless and their hearts pounded rapidly. It took a long time for them to calm down as they stared at the lofty Qingqing Saint Hall. Their realm lord, that white-robed young man, was already walking on the path of a legend. Maybe, they had to cherish every chance they had to see him. Because, maybe many years later, he would only exist in the legends. When Yi Qianyu, who was in the Qingqing Saint Hall, heard this voice, her beautiful eyes also froze. After that, she turned her gaze to Qin Wentian as she smiled. This was the man she loved. He was destined to be extraordinary, and just like what she had predicted, he was climbing to the peak step by step. The World Overlord realm wasn't his limit. Very early on, when they were still in the Heavenly City, in the Thousand Feathers Palace, she already knew that his future would not be ordinary. Otherwise, she would not have gradually fallen in love with him. Reality was also proving that her judgment was not wrong. What should we do? Do you need me to step in? Yi Qinyu gently smiled. After all, many world overlords came here to pay their respects. No matter what, there should at least be an important character receiving them, right? Qin Wentian bitterly smiled as he shook his head. Although he knew that it was impossible for Qin Wentian to come here for revenge, he was still somewhat taken aback. He didn't expect that someone would come to the Qinqing realm so quickly and come here to pay a visit. Truly, humans are afraid of being famous while pigs are afraid of being fat. Qin Wentian's name shook the Time Realm during the convention of the Myriad Realms, and he also caused such a huge commotion in Time City. It was impossible for him not to be famous even if he didn't want to. As for the reputation of the Qinqing Realm Lord, it was only normal for world overlords to come here to look for him. Maybe, this person was from a nearby world overlord. However, to Qin Wentian, this was merely an unnecessary trouble. Outside the Qinqing Saint Hall, there were also countless people waiting for their Qinqing Realm Lord to come out. When they saw that supreme silhouette, they really wanted to know what accomplishments the Qinqing Realm Lord had in the outside world. Compared to back then when he killed the lifelong Realm Lord, how much stronger was he now? You guys came from afar, you guys can tour the city for a few days before returning. A voice rang out from the Qinqing Saint Hall, filled with calmness. This voice wasn't loud, but it rang out clearly in the ears of everyone. When they heard this, the hearts of many people trembled violently again. The meaning behind this sentence was a single word. Not to be seen. The various world overlords personally came to pay their respects, but the Qinqing Realm Lord's attitude was that he wouldn't see any guests. This, many people were speechless. Was this arrogance or arrogance? Naturally, it wasn't. Back then at the 10 Miles Inn, many world overlords came to the inn to pay their respects to the absolute beginning overlord. However, the absolute beginning overlord didn't want to see any guests. How would a hegemonic level world overlord have the time to meet people of no importance? If every world overlord came to meet him, wouldn't that be troublesome? What would they say after the meeting? What was the point of exchanging pleasantries? Before he became famous, if he went to pay his respects to other famous world overlords, would they accept him? Of course not. What sort of character was Qin Wentian? It wouldn't be an exaggeration to say that he was the most dazzling character in the convention. He was the successor of the Time King and had killed the Dragon Pool Manor Lord. Even the heavenly deities of the Tiandao Sacred Academy were willing to be his teacher. With such a status, even ordinary hegemonic-level world overlords wouldn't be able to stand on equal footing with him. If they could meet with Qin Wentian, it would be their honor. It was only logical that Qin Wentian didn't want to meet with him. They all understood that this was very normal. It was like if a supreme character whom they didn't know came to pay a visit to them, would they meet with him? They wouldn't meet with him either. They also understood that their statuses weren't high enough. Hence, they came together, hoping to be able to see the glory of this successor of the Time King. If they could become familiar with him, in the future when Qin Wentian became a character like the Sword Monarch, they could say that they were acquainted with heavenly deities. How glorious would that be? Sadly, even though they came together, Qin Wentian still didn't meet with them. Senior Qinqing Realm Lord displayed his magnificence in the convention, killing a hegemonic-level world overlord with a single battle. Who in the Mystic region doesn't know of you? It's truly a pity that we weren't able to meet with Senior. However, it's still an honor to be able to see the glory of Senior's city. A world overlord slowly spoke. The people in the surroundings felt that their hearts couldn't take it anymore. Arrogance. Arrogance. They were thinking too much. This seemed to be a matter of course. Those world overlords who were rejected all felt this way. The Qingqing Realm Lord killed a hegemonic-level world overlord with a single battle. Who in the mystic region didn't know of him? What sort of evaluation was this? They felt that their brains weren't enough. They really wanted to know what sort of commotion their world overlord caused in the convention exactly. In the future, if Senior ascends to the heavenly divinity realm, becoming a divinity beneath all living beings, this Qingqing Realm Lord would also become a sacred ground for the gods. Now that we are here, we should take a good look around. Another world overlord spoke, wanting to bootlick, but his words weren't exaggerated. Qin Wentian had indeed displayed the potential of a heavenly deity. Just as they were speaking, more experts arrived from afar. A group of people arrived, and when they saw the situation here, the person in the lead silently sighed in his heart. Was this his current status? Many world overlords have already personally come to pay their respects to him. He stood on the ground and clasped his hands in the direction of the Qingqing Saint Hall. Realm Lord of the Heavenly Talisman Realm is here to beg for forgiveness. I hope that you can punish me for my disrespect in the past. There was a young man beside him. This young man was none other than the person who came to cause trouble and humiliate Qin Wentian back then during the banquet in the Qingqing Saint Hall. He lowered his head and spoke in the direction of the Qingqing Saint Hall. Junior dared to offend Senior back then and specially came here to beg for forgiveness. Senior, please punish me accordingly. Some of the people who attended the banquet in the Qingqing Saint Hall all knew about this matter. Right now, a world overlord from the Heavenly Talisman Realm personally came to the Qingqing Saint Hall to beg for forgiveness. As for that young man who spoke arrogantly back then, he lowered his voice and didn't even dare to lift his head. What did this mean? This meant that the current Qingqing Realm Lord could easily crush them to death. Hence, they didn't dare to not come. It was true that the Heavenly Talisman Realm Lord didn't dare to not come. Although he and Qin Wentian once shared the status of an apostle, how would he dare to bring that up? Right now, he felt some regret. He didn't expect that such a character would actually appear in the Azure Mystic Realm, and this character was even his personal disciple. But after that, he actually offended Qin Wentian, standing on the opposite side and even mocking him during the banquet. How could he not be afraid of Qin Wentian taking revenge? After the incident in the Dragon Pool Manor, he immediately left the Time Realm and returned. The first thing he did was to come to the Qingqing Saint Hall to beg for forgiveness. If Qin Wentian bore a grudge and personally came to visit him, the consequences would be unimaginable. You still have the face to come? A voice drifted over. Jun Mingchen soared through the air, exuding the might of a powerful world overlord. The Heavenly Talisman Realm Lord sighed in his heart. This man was once a disciple of his Heavenly Talisman Realm and could be considered his disciple. However, Jun Mingchen and his senior apprentice brother were once imprisoned by the Heavenly Talisman Realm. I naturally know my mistake and came here to beg for forgiveness. The Realm Lord felt extremely uncomfortable in his heart, but he had no choice but to lower his head. Senior brother, how should we deal with him? Qin Wentian glanced in the direction of the Qingqing Saint Hall as he asked. Do what you want to do. Qin Wentian spoke. Jun Mingchen was the victim back then. If it wasn't for Jun Mingchen and Bai Wuya being imprisoned by the Heavenly Talisman Realm, Qin Wentian wouldn't have hated the Heavenly Talisman Realm so much. At most, they wouldn't have any dealings with each other. Jun Mingchen clenched his fists. He stared at the Realm Lord and spoke, although I want nothing more than to kill you with a single punch, it's still a matter of fate. My senior brother and I got to know each other because of you, that's why I have such a senior brother. There are also 2 other senior brothers who treated me like a father. Sadly, you personally destroyed this fate. Scram, I don't want to see you ever again. He was ultimately soft-hearted. Other than Qin Wentian, he and his senior apprentice brother, as well as Bai Wuya, were acquainted because of the Heavenly Talisman Realm. That experience had a great impact on him, even affecting his entire life. Hence, he still decided to spare the Realm Lord. Many thanks. The Realm Lord clasped his hands and left with his tail between his legs. Not being punished was already the best ending for him. However, Jun Mengchen's words caused him to feel pain in his heart. Indeed, he personally destroyed this fate. If not, before Qin Wentian had a heavenly deity as his teacher, he would still have a teacher. If that was the case, he would be able to form a good relationship with the Tiandao Sacred Academy. All of you can leave now. I encountered many things in the convention. Now, I only wish for some peace and quiet. Qin Wentian calmly spoke. Yes, Senior. The world overlords outside bowed and departed respectively. The spectators stared in the direction of the Qingqing Saint Hall, they were still reluctant to leave. The people from the Jiaoan clan and Xianyuan clan felt their hearts shaking. Was this the status of their realm lord today? In the entire mystic region, who wouldn't know of him? Chapter 1812. The Great Hall of the Daoist Lodge was extremely spacious and there were many seats for people to receive guests. When Qin Wentian and his group entered, an extremely beautiful serving girl welcomed them. Her gaze instantly landed on Qin Wentian, who was in the lead, as she asked, "Sir, may I know how to address you?" With regards to all of this, Qin Wentian had no idea at all. Although he was like the sun in the midday sky in the Qingqing realm, his name even shook the entire mystic region, he was actually enjoying his quiet time here, accompanying beautiful women and not forgetting his cultivation. Maybe the people around him were stimulated by him as more and more people broke through to the world overlord realm. This was especially so for those who received guidance from heavenly deities. Almost all of them had already broken through to the world overlord realm. At this moment, Qin Wentian and his group arrived at the Daoist Lodge. Firstly, it was more convenient as it was very close to the Tiandao Sacred Academy. Secondly, it was safe. The background of this Daoist Lodge was extremely extraordinary. If they stayed here, there would definitely be no one who would dare to cause trouble here. Senior, I've already arrived at Daoist City. I will enter the Tiandao Sacred Academy tomorrow. Qin Wentian took out his messaging crystal and spoke to that major character. A moment later, as expected, the serving girl who received Qin Wentian came over. She spoke to Qin Wentian, "Sir Qin, I'm very sorry, I will send someone to fetch you tomorrow." That major character spoke. Their world overlord had actually already reached such a height, directly facing off against the Ziwei Divine Court, a hegemon of the mystic region. Under the pressure of the Ziwei Divine Court, he killed the Dragon Pool Manor Lord and even humiliated a heavenly deity disciple of the Ziwei Divine Court. Everything seemed to be very, very far away from them, but that existence was right before their eyes. There's still a space on the third level. I will stay there then. Qin Wentian smiled. There were pavilions and terraces in the courtyard, with lush greenery everywhere. The environment was truly beautiful and there were many individual courtyards. If one walked to the front of the courtyard, they would be able to see the majestic Sacred Academy from above, as well as view the bustling streets of Daoist City from below. Alright, how long does young Master Qin plan on staying? The maid asked. Naturally, other than those who were breaking through, Qing'er and Mo Qingqing would definitely follow along. This time around, Yi Qianyu was also brought along. During the convention of the Myriad Realms, he only brought Qingqing and Qing'er along. This time around, if he didn't bring Yi Qianyu along, his harem would surely be in chaos. The location of the Daoist Lodge was located not far away from the Tiandao Sacred Academy. The streets here were also the most flourishing in the entire Daoist City. It was the absolute center of the Daoist City and there were even more people and experts here. The experts in this majestic city were as many as the clouds, far from what Qingqing City could compare to. Daoist City, where the Tiandao Sacred Academy was located, was extremely loyal in the mystic region. In addition to the status of the Sacred Academy, one could very well imagine how prosperous this city was. Many world overlords would come to the Tiandao Sacred Academy to seek the Tao. However, if one wasn't fated, the Tiandao Sacred Academy wouldn't casually impart the Tao. Such a situation wasn't rare in Daoask City. There were many powerful clans and powers in the mystic region, and there would often be geniuses from the younger generations coming here to seek the Tao. Naturally, there were also experts from the older generations who came here to seek the Tao, regardless of age. The voices of the conversation weren't loud, but how could it be hidden from him? He frowned. So it turned out that these people wanted the remaining courtyards on the third level. Also, their statuses seemed to be extraordinary. My surname is Qin. Qin Wentian smiled. Finally, today, he was preparing to set off for the Tiandao Sacred Academy. The Qingqing realm was incomparably stable, who would still dare to cause trouble here? Right now, his only goal was to become stronger than ever before. He didn't forget the meeting with his uncle, he didn't forget his destined opponent, he didn't forget his destined enemy, Heaven's son Qin Dangtian, as well as his irreconcilable enemy, Qin Zheng. Many thanks, Sir Qin. The serving girl sincerely thanked. Being able to afford to stay on the third level for a month, clearly, his status wouldn't be ordinary. Since he was so easygoing, it was naturally a concession. How could she not be grateful? Temporarily, I'll stay for a month. Qin Wentian replied. He would temporarily settle everyone down first before heading to the Tiandao Sacred Academy alone. It was impossible for him to bring everyone to the Tiandao Sacred Academy the moment he arrived. Back then, although the seniors of the Tiandao Sacred Academy invited him, they didn't invite him to bring his friends and family along. If he did that, maybe the Tiandao Sacred Academy would still accept him, but it would still be somewhat disrespectful. It was better for him to scout the situation in the Tiandao Sacred Academy first. This time around, Qin Wentian didn't come alone. Many others who broke through to the World Overlord realm also followed him. He wondered if they could temper themselves in the Tiandao Sacred Academy. If they couldn't, he would let them stay in Daoask City. If not, he didn't know how long this cultivation session would take. It was impossible for him to leave everyone in the Qingqing realm. Although the experts in Daoask City were as common as the clouds, Qin Wentian and his group still attracted a lot of attention when they walked in the city. This group of people was simply too dazzling. The young man in the lead was extraordinarily handsome and radiated vigor. His entire person exuded an extraordinary aura, and it was very possible that his cultivation base was extremely high. The people around him all exuded an imposing aura of supremacy. Other than this, there were also several beautiful women. Upon seeing them, many people instantly thought of the young masters and young ladies of the major powers who came to the Tiandao Sacred Academy to seek the Tao. After waiting for a while, the serving girl still didn't come over. She seemed to be conversing with a group of people in another direction. In that direction, there was also a group of guests. There were over 10 of them, and all of them exuded extraordinary auras. This was especially so for the man and woman in the lead. From a single glance, one could tell that they were disciples from aristocratic clans. Their gazes were also cast in the direction of Qin Wentian. Good, where are you now? A voice rang out in his mind. I'm staying in the Daoask Lodge. My family members came with me as well. I arranged for them to stay here. Qin Wentian replied. Qin Wentian's achievements in the convention of the myriad realms gradually circulated around the Qingqing realm, causing countless people to be shocked. The serving girl spoke a few words and left. After that, she helped Qin Wentian settle everything before leading Qin Wentian and the others to the Daoask Lodge, arriving at a courtyard on the 4th level. Qin Wentian saw Qinger, Little Rascal, and Bai Qing becoming world overlords one after another. He naturally felt extremely happy in his heart. The people of the Jialan clan discovered that there was no need for the future. Just right now, Qin Wentian had already become a legend of the Qingqing realm. In this place where they lived, who would have thought that such a character would appear? In addition, this character was none other than the Qingqing Realm Lord. Qin Wentian smiled. Actually, the income from the mines in the Qingqing realm was truly insignificant. After all, even if you mined for tens or hundreds of years, you might not even earn as much as selling a few treasures in a place like the Heaven Immortal Tower. How could he compare? After all, his wealth came from robbing the Heaven Immortal Tower. This time around, his family and friends were all around him. He naturally couldn't let the environment of the Daoist Lodge be too bad. Back then, Qin Wentian came to Daoist City because he wanted to visit the Tiandao Sacred Academy and return to Azure Mystic. This time around, things were clearly different. After the group of them arrived at Daoist City, they casually strolled around the city, enjoying the scenery here. Got it. Let's go to the 4th level then. Qin Wentian casually spoke. Before this serving girl also helped him to fight for the 4th level. However, her status wasn't high and she didn't have much authority to speak. Qin Wentian naturally wouldn't make things difficult for her. At his current cultivation realm, there was no need for him to care too much about such minor matters. Before this, they still felt that Qin Wentian wasn't willing to meet with world overlords because of how arrogant Qin Wentian was. But after knowing the truth, they finally understood the status of their Qingqing Realm Lord today. Let alone ordinary world overlords, even hegemonic level world overlords would have to pay their respects. This was an existence that had killed a hegemonic level world overlord before, and he even had a heavenly deity as his master. The higher one went, the more majestic and expensive the buildings were. It was rumored that the highest level of the Daoist Lodge wasn't open to the public. Only those with extremely high statuses or those who were friends of the boss of the Daoist Lodge would have the qualifications to stay there. Daoist City, this was the second time Qin Wentian came to this majestic city. This city was built with the Tiandao Sacred Academy as the center and was always so prosperous. The sacred ground Tiandao Sacred Academy was a place where countless people in the mystic region yearned to go to, a place of pilgrimage. After all, in a situation where one's talent wasn't weak, after experiencing the tempering in the various secret realms in the ancient battlefield and having the guidance of heavenly deities, in addition to the insights gained from the convention of the myriad realms, breaking through to the world overlord realm wouldn't be a difficult thing. There's no need for senior, I will head there myself. Qin Wentian replied. How could he have the face to let the Tiandao Sacred Academy personally come to welcome him? Wasn't this a little too overbearing? After all, he was someone who came here to seek the Tao. Naturally, the price was extremely high as well. Being able to stay in the Daoist Lodge was a symbol of one's status. Ordinary world overlords would only be able to stay here occasionally for a day or two. If they wanted to stay here for a long period of time, even ordinary world overlords wouldn't be able to afford it. Okay, I will arrange it for you. The attitude of the serving girl was extremely good, her smile was extremely amiable. After she left, Jun Mengchen, who was at the side, involuntarily sighed, the service is really good. However, the price is too terrifying. Senior brother, you are truly wealthy. If you stayed in the courtyard at the highest peak of the Daoist Lodge, as long as you stood in the courtyard, you would be able to see the incomparably majestic Sacred Academy in the sky. The height of the Tiandao Sacred Academy was the same as the flight of stairs leading up to the Tiandao Sacred Academy. The courtyard at the highest peak was named the Equal Heaven Lodge. The largest inn in Daoist City was none other than the Daoist Lodge. This place used to be an ancient mountain, but after that, the entire mountain was transformed into the Daoist Lodge. Majestic buildings could be seen everywhere, and the palaces were built from white jade, containing powerful astral energy from the heavens and earth. Faintly, one could clearly sense the great Tao of astral energy. Tiandao Sacred Academy. At this moment, Qin Wentian stood in front of a courtyard, staring at the majestic Sacred Academy. This time around, he didn't know what good fortune he would encounter in this trip to the Tiandao Sacred Academy. He hoped that his strength would be able to improve by another step. Sir Qin, everyone, please take a seat. The serving girl led Qin Wentian and the others to a seat. After that, she took out an item and passed it to Qin Wentian. This is the location of the remaining courtyards as well as the price list. Sir Qin, please take a look. The commotion in the Qingqing realm lasted for a very long time. The atmosphere of the martial path was even more intense than before. Many young experts were determined to cultivate, taking their world overlords as their idols. They hoped that one day, they would be able to participate in the convention of the myriad realms and take a look at those peak powers in the mystic region. Chapter 1813. Under the night sky, the Daoask Lodge was extremely bustling. In the central region of Daoask City, there was a lake not far away from the Daoask Lodge. This lake was also one of the properties of the Daoask Lodge. With the island in the center, there were many pavilions on the lake and each of them were filled with guests who were currently enjoying a banquet. The guests of the Daoask Lodge could enjoy immortal banquets here for free. On the island in the center of the lake, there was a group of white-robed maidens dancing gracefully. Their graceful movements caused people to sigh in admiration. The countenances of these maidens were also breathtakingly beautiful. Qianyu, these maidens aren't inferior to the red dust immortal palace at all. In fact, they are even more outstanding. At a pavilion in the center of the lake, Qin Wentian spoke to Yi Qianyu who was beside him. That's true. Spending such a huge price to stay in the Daoask Lodge, we naturally have to let you guys feel that it's worth the price. Didn't you see that other than the guests of the Daoask Lodge, outsiders who want to enjoy the dance on the lake or in the pavilions also have to pay a sky-high price? Yi Qianyu smiled. That's true. Qin Wentian nodded. Although this was the case, there were still many people enjoying the banquets on the lake or in the pavilions. Maybe, these were people who originally resided in Daoask City. It wasn't that they couldn't afford to stay in the Daoask Lodge, it was just that there was no need for them to do so. But to them, it was extremely normal for them to occasionally come here to enjoy the beautiful scenery. Is their dance more beautiful or is my dance more beautiful? Yi Qianyu transmitted her voice to Qin Wentian. Her beautiful eyes flickered with a soul-stirring intent, causing Qin Wentian's heart to race. He shook his head and smiled, how can they be compared to you? Yi Qianyu smiled sweetly, as though she was very satisfied. After the dance ended, many people applauded. In fact, there was even a guest in a pavilion who wasn't stingy with his praise. Watching Violet Jade Fairies dance, I feel like I'm in an immortal realm, forgetting the passage of time. Sir praises me too much. The most outstanding woman on the island bowed slightly and spoke with a faint smile. Her name was Zi Yao, and she was known as the Violet Jade Fairy. Not only was she extremely beautiful, her talent in cultivation was extremely outstanding as well. Now that she had already stepped into the extraordinary realm, she still stood out amongst the group of beauties. From this, one could see how beautiful she was. Words are not enough to praise Fairy's wonderful dance. Today, the pavilion on the lake is filled with distinguished guests. Fairy, do you have anything interesting to share with everyone? That young man smiled. Not only was this Violet Jade Fairy's dancing skills outstanding, she was also extremely well informed and knew about the major events in the mystic region. Naturally, this might also be because she had the support of the Daoask Lodge. Whenever the Violet Jade Fairy appeared, she would definitely share an interesting event in the mystic region with everyone. Today, I want to talk to everyone about the Heavenly Dao rankings. Right now, there's a change and someone has been replaced. I wonder if everyone knows of this. The Violet Jade Fairy smiled. It's extremely rare for the Heavenly Dao rankings to be changed. Now that there's actually a change, who was replaced? Everyone's interest was instantly piqued. Someone asked. In the original Heavenly Dao rankings, there were 2 disciples from the Ziwei Divine Court, 2 disciples from the Heavenly Dao Great Devil Divine Palace, 1 disciple from the Heavenly Deity Mountain, and 3 from the Tiandao Sacred Academy. As for the last 2, they didn't cultivate in any of the major powers. I'm sure everyone is very clear about this point and should also know who they are. The person who was replaced is none other than one of the last 2. The Violet Jade Fairy smiled sweetly. Also, the person who was replaced this time around is the youngest out of all the participants. If everyone thinks about it carefully, you should be able to guess who he is. The eyes of many people gleamed with sharpness. The Heavenly Dao Rankings was a ranking established by the Tiandao Sacred Academy. The so-called Heavenly Dao was something unreachable. There were 10 people on the Heavenly Dao Rankings. There was no age restriction for these 10, but they were all people from the mystic region. They were the characters that the Tiandao Sacred Academy felt had the highest possibility of inheriting the Heavenly Dao and becoming the next heavenly deity of the mystic region. From this, one could very well imagine the status of this ranking. In other words, from a certain perspective, this was the Heavenly Dao Rankings with the highest potential. As long as one was on the Heavenly Dao Rankings, they would be considered to have a chance to become a deity in the future, stepping into that supreme realm. There was no age restriction for the people on the Heavenly Dao Rankings and there was no requirement for strength. For example, there were some people on the Heavenly Dao Rankings who weren't too strong in the World Overlord realm. There might be many people in the mystic region who could defeat them, but their names were still on the Heavenly Dao Rankings because they had the potential to become a heavenly deity. For those stronger than them, they didn't have such potential. Naturally, in theory, there was no requirement for strength. But in reality, the people on the Heavenly Dao Rankings were all World Overlords and none of them had the potential to become World Overlords. Who said that you had the potential to become a heavenly deity? However, for some of the younger generations, when they stepped into the World Overlord realm, they would display sufficient heaven-defying talent and they would have a chance to replace the people on the Heavenly Dao Rankings. Just like this time around, someone on the Heavenly Dao Rankings was replaced. I think I should know who the Violet Jade Fairy is talking about. I didn't expect that the Tiandao Sacred Academy would have already engraved his name on the Heavenly Dao Rankings so quickly. Someone spoke, feeling shock in his heart. The person the Violet Jade Fairy is talking about should be the rumored successor of the Time King who is participating in the convention this time around, right? Another person spoke. After that, the eyes of everyone flashed as they thought of a certain person. Recently, the fame of this person was like the sun in the sky in the central regions of the mystic region. There would often be people mentioning him. The successor of the Time King, killing a hegemonic level character in a single battle and cultivating for less than 1,000 years. This resplendent rising star instantly gained a place in the mystic region and was known by everyone. Naturally, the reason why his fame spread so quickly was because of the Ziwei Divine Court and Yuchangkong. This story was simply too dramatic. A disciple of the Sun Moon Sacred Mountain, Yuchangkong, actually impersonated the identity of the Time King's successor and entered the Ziwei Divine Court, even becoming a heavenly deity's disciple. From this, one could very well imagine how many people paid attention to this matter. In addition, the Time King and the Tiandao Sacred Academy were also related to this matter. Qin Wentian, who was currently smiling and chatting with the people around him, suddenly started. The gazes of the people around him also froze before they smiled at Qin Wentian. Right now, Qin Wentian was actually so famous. Not only did world overlords come to the Qingqing realm to pay a visit, he was also mentioned by many people outside the Tiandao Sacred Academy. Also, he was ranked on the extremely impressive Heavenly Dao Rankings. Qin Wentian bitterly smiled. He knew nothing about the Heavenly Dao Rankings at all. He didn't expect that he would be ranked on it for no reason at all and was even talked about by others. Young masters, all of you are truly intelligent. Indeed, I received news that the Qingqing Realm Lord will be coming to the Tiandao Sacred Academy to cultivate. And at the instant he enters the Tiandao Sacred Academy, the Heavenly Dao Rankings would be changed and the name of the Qingqing Realm Lord would be ranked there. The Violet Jade Fairy smiled. If it's him, It's only logical. Being able to obtain the recognition of the Time King, this already proves his talent. In addition, he has cultivated for less than 1,000 years and already killed the Dragon Pool Manor Lord. It's only normal for him to be ranked on the Heavenly Dao rankings. Someone nodded. Many people here were extraordinary characters and naturally had their own outstanding aspects. The Qingqing Realm Lord's fame wouldn't be undeserved. If not, the Tiandao Sacred Academy wouldn't have given him the recognition of a heavenly deity as his teacher. This is interesting. Since the Qingqing Realm Lord is entering the Tiandao Sacred Academy, wouldn't that mean that the Tiandao Sacred Academy will occupy 4 of the top 10 rankers on the Heavenly Dao rankings in the future? 10 years ago, that supreme character who came down from the Sword Saint Mountain and entered the Tiandao Sacred Academy for cultivation, I wonder who is more outstanding compared to this Qingqing Realm Lord. Someone laughed. In a pavilion, when they heard someone mentioning the person who came down from the Sword Saint Mountain, their eyes all flashed with sharpness. The eyes of the young man in the lead gleamed with sharpness, containing a resplendent sword intent. In the dark of the night, the light he released was even more dazzling compared to the moonlight. How long has the Qingqing Realm Lord been famous for? How can you compare him to the descendant of the Sword God? Don't forget how he rose to his current fame step by step. Qingqing Realm Lord, it's just a single battle, is he even worthy of being mentioned in the same breath? The young man spoke, his tone filled with unwillingness. As the sound of his voice faded, the gazes of many turned over. Qin Wentian's group also turned over as a strange look appeared on their faces. So it turned out that the person who spoke was actually the person who snatched the courtyard on the 3rd level of the Daoist Lodge from Qin Wentian. Yeah. His battle achievements are simply too glorious. He challenged so many world overlords and wasn't defeated once. Even some extremely famous hegemonic level characters were defeated by him. Geniuses are always lonely. In the end, he chose to enter the Tiandao Sacred Academy and pursue the Heavenly Dao. Someone sighed. Every name that could be ranked on the Heavenly Dao rankings represented a legend. The Qingqing Realm Lord was one of them, the others were naturally the same as well. That young man came from the Sword Saint Mountain and was a descendant of the Sword God. The people around Qin Wentian were all unhappy when they heard this. Jun Mengchen glanced at the young man and spoke unhappily, the strength of one's talent, the size of one's fame, could it be that this is based on the number of battles one has to fight? I'm really curious. That descendant of the Sword God, within 1,000 years, did he have the same battle achievements as the Qingqing Realm Lord and killed hegemonic level characters? The eyes of the young man gleamed with a soul-stirring light as he stared at Jun Mengchen. He then spoke. Although the Convention of the Myriad Realms is said to be a peak-level event in the Mystic region, the vast majority of the participants are world overlords from various realms as well as world overlords from the vassal powers of the 3 hegemonic powers. As for those truly famous world overlords like the 10 rankers on the Heavenly Dao rankings, not a single one of them is here because they have the confidence to do so. They basically don't need the recognition of the 3 hegemonic powers or they are already the most outstanding disciples of the 3 hegemonic powers. The descendant of the Sword God you spoke of, if he participated in the Convention of the Myriad Realms, the Qingqing Realm Lord would have nothing to do with him. The words of the young man weren't wrong. Although the Convention of the Myriad Realms was a peak-level event in the Mystic region, it was impossible for all the world overlords of the Mystic region to be here. There were simply too many people who haven't participated yet. Or maybe, they had already participated 10,000 years ago and didn't attend again. Jun Mengchen still wanted to refute but he heard the Violet Jade Fairy laughing, "Sir, let's not argue for now. Today, we are talking about the Heavenly Dao rankings." In truth, Violet Jade still has something to tell everyone. On the Sword Saint Mountain, other than the descendant of the Sword God who is ranked on the Heavenly Dao rankings, another descendant of the Sword God has arrived here and is about to enter the Tiandao Sacred Academy for cultivation. As for him, he is currently staying in the Daoist Lodge. As the sound of the Violet Jade Fairy's voice faded, the eyes of everyone gleamed sharply. In an instant, many people turned their gazes to the young man who spoke earlier as they faintly guessed at something. And as expected, the eyes of the young man gleamed with dazzling sword light, akin to a supreme sword. His sharp gaze was filled with pride. Chapter 18:14. At this moment, the violet jade fairy appeared in the great hall and smiled, "Is everyone here to welcome someone?" As expected, the people from Tiandao Sacred Academy really arrived. A group of people exuded extraordinary auras and there were several world overlords among them. All of them exuded transcendent auras and came to the Daoist Lodge. Someone from the Daoist Lodge immediately went up to greet them, "Seniors, are you all from the Sacred Academy? Jian Chen's talent is extremely dazzling." Someone said that if the top 10 rankers on the Heavenly Dao rankings were to be ranked, regardless of talent or strength, he would definitely be ranked in the top 5. Since you are Jian Chen's nephew, I'm sure your talent is also outstanding. I didn't expect that the two heroes of the Sword Saint Mountain would both come to Tiandao's Sacred Academy to seek Dao. Qin Wentian truly couldn't be bothered to argue. Along the way until today, he had suffered many doubts. Now that his name shook the entire mystic region, it was an accident and not something he wanted. As for competing based on talent, there was no meaning at all. In fact, one could even say that it was very boring. Only one's own strength was the foundation of everything. A person smiled and nodded. The many serving girls all went up to welcome them, but one of them waved her hand, "There's no need to be so polite, we will leave very soon." Not. The female's gaze froze. Jian Wuxian's footsteps also halted. The people in the Daoist Lodge all had a strange look on their faces. Was there a mistake? As to why they came to the Heavenly Dao Sacred Academy to cultivate and not because they wanted to join the Ziwei Divine Court or the Heavenly Deity Mountain, it was because once they joined the Ziwei Divine Court or the Heavenly Deity Mountain, they would belong to those hegemonic powers. Their glory would belong to the Ziwei Divine Court. Heavenly Deity Mountain, everyone would first think that you are a heavenly deity from the Ziwei Divine Court. Only then would they think that you are from the Sword Saint Mountain. Many thanks. Jian Wuxian smiled. The arrogance on his face grew even more apparent as he walked towards the experts from Tiandao Sacred Academy. His younger sister walked up first, "Many thanks seniors for coming to welcome my elder brother." As a descendant of the Sword God, she naturally had her pride. The Violet Jade Fairy smiled and glanced at Qin Wentian's side. She seemed to be a little interested. However, today's limelight still belonged to Jian Wuxian. Many people came to talk to him, wanting to make friends with him. Qin Wentian and the others chatted for a while and then left, returning to the courtyard to rest. At this moment, at the stairway, many people walked over. The person in the middle was surrounded by the crowd, exuding a majestic aura. This person was none other than Jian Wuxian and his group. The people in the surroundings were all experts who came to pay a visit today. Many of them were guests who drank wine at the pavilion in the middle of the lake yesterday and wanted to befriend Jian Wuxian. Upon seeing the arrival of the experts from the Sacred Academy, someone laughed, "Jian Wuxian seems to have heaven-defying talent. I've never seen such treatment before. The people from Tiandao Sacred Academy personally came to welcome you. Such treatment, seems like your talent must be extraordinary." Someone sighed. If not, even if Jian Chen's status in Tiandao Sacred Academy was extraordinary, it wouldn't be good for them to directly send people to welcome Jian Wuxian unless Jian Wuxian's talent was extremely high. If not, if Jian Chen invited an ordinary person to the Sacred Academy for cultivation, wouldn't it be the same as slapping his own face? You think that after participating in the convention of the myriad realms, you already know the geniuses of the world. But you don't know that you are merely a frog at the bottom of a well, unable to see the vastness of the heavens and earth. Jian Wuxian replied as he drank his wine. It was like he couldn't be bothered to get angry with Jun Mengchen because of his status. A descendant of the Sword God naturally had the bearing of a descendant of the Sword God. Brother Jian, since you are already here, you must have already obtained the recognition of Tiandao Sacred Academy, right? Someone asked. That's right. The experts from Tiandao Sacred Academy nodded. They were indeed here to welcome someone. The eyes of the people in the surroundings all gleamed with sharpness. As expected, there were actually several world overlords who came to welcome them. Was this really something Jian Chen's strength could accomplish? Yes, Jian Chen is my uncle and this is my elder brother, Jian Wuxian. Weren't you guys sent by my uncle to welcome him? The girl spoke. The disciples from the Sword Saint Mountain all had supreme sword arts. Their world hearts and heaven heart mandates were all based on the origin energy of swords. Their combat prowess was extremely powerful. Little miss, how can we not know what we are here for? That world overlord smiled. At this moment, another two people walked in. They were both at the Empyrean realm and when they saw the people from Tiandao Sacred Academy, they immediately bowed, we pay our respects to seniors. The world overlords exchanged mutual glances before they smiled, so it's people from the Sword Saint Mountain. This time, we have to properly cultivate after entering the Tiandao Sacred Academy. However, we weren't sent by Jian Chen and we aren't here to welcome your elder brother. Given Brother Qin's talent, this is something that should be done. Senior has instructed us again and again. A world overlord laughed. Upon hearing his words, everyone naturally understood who they were here to welcome. The people from the Sword Saint Mountain all had awkward expressions on their faces. This was especially so for these people, they had a verbal conflict with them yesterday, mocking them for being frogs at the bottom of a well. The beautiful eyes of the Violet Jade Fairy also flashed with suspicion. There shouldn't be a mistake, right? The people from Tiandao Sacred Academy had also admitted that they were here to welcome someone. How would we dare to trouble Brother Qin to come here? Qin Wentian clasped his hands. Hence, today, many people gathered in the Daoist Lodge. Regardless of guests or people from major powers, there were some in the Great Hall of the Daoist Lodge while others waited outside, wanting to see if the people from Tiandao Sacred Academy were here to welcome Jian Wuxian. Blowing your own trumpet. A mocking voice drifted over. The expressions of everyone froze as they stared at the person who spoke. It was none other than Jun Mengchen. After knowing the identity of Jian Wuxian's group, he actually still dared to mock them. Seems like this group of people weren't ordinary characters and might be from a peak power. On the second morning, the news that Jian Wuxian, the descendant of the Sword God, was staying in the Daoist Lodge and was about to head to the Tiandao Sacred Academy for cultivation soon circulated. Many people went to pay a visit, wanting to get to know Jian Wuxian. Among them, there were also some major powers from Daoist City. According to Jian Wuxian's younger sister, Jian Chen seemed to be sending people to welcome Jian Wuxian into the Tiandao Sacred Academy for cultivation today. Such treatment was truly extraordinary. From this, one could see that Jian Wuxian's talent was extraordinary. It was just that he had yet to display his brilliance in the mystic region. On the Heavenly Dao rankings, there was a person named Jian Chen. His sword had defeated many world overlords and even killed hegemonic-level experts. The Sword Saint Mountain has waited for countless years and finally, a person with the potential to become a heavenly deity has appeared. He would be the hope of the Sword Saint Mountain's revival. Although I've never met Jian Chen before, from your words and actions, you guys aren't even famous yet your tone is already so arrogant, disregarding the talent of others and belittling others to elevate yourself. From this, one can see that your temperament isn't good enough. Before this, you guys forcefully wanted us to enter the Heavenly Dao Lodge. From this, I can also see this point. Jun Mengchen sarcastically spoke. As for the talent you guys are bragging about, we will see for ourselves when we enter the Tiandao Sacred Academy. I've participated in the convention this time around and naturally know what sort of character the Qinqing Realm Lord is. In the future, when he and Jian Chen cultivate together in the Tiandao Sacred Academy, you guys will naturally understand who is more outstanding. Because, although the Ziwei Divine Court and the other two hegemonic powers were hegemonic powers of the mystic region, in truth, there were even more people with extraordinary talent who were more willing to come to the Tiandao Sacred Academy to seek the Tao. Naturally, my uncle has already said that tomorrow, he will personally send people from the Tiandao Sacred Academy to welcome my elder brother into the Sacred Academy. A beautiful young girl at the side spoke. She was Jian Wuxian's younger sister. The world overlord of the Tiandao Sacred Academy glanced at this young girl. After that, his gaze landed on Jian Wuxian as he asked with some bewilderment, "Is your elder brother him?" Jian Wuxian's expression also turned awkward. His younger sister then glanced at the world overlord of the Tiandao Sacred Academy and asked, "In that case, who are you guys here to welcome?" "Young Master Jian, after you head to the Tiandao Sacred Academy, you can set your family at ease. I will naturally arrange for them to stay in the second level of the Taoist Lodge." A person with some status in the Taoist Lodge smiled. Yesterday, it was none other than him who helped to arrange for Jian Wuxian, who arrived later than Qin Wentian, to stay in the third level. Qin Wentian had a bitter smile on his face when he saw the people who came. He had met these people before. They were none other than the world overlords of the Tiandao Sacred Academy who participated in the convention of the Myriad Realms. However, they didn't interact much back then. He didn't expect that the world overlord would still send people to welcome Jian Chen. This caused him to feel somewhat overwhelmed by the favor. Although Jian Chen's talent was outstanding and was ranked on the Heavenly Tao rankings, he was ultimately still a cultivator seeking the Tao. Sending out such a lineup could only mean that the person they wanted to welcome had extraordinary talent. "So it's people from the Sword Saint Mountain. Sorry for the disrespect." Someone clasped his hands to the young man. Another person asked, "I wonder what is your relationship with Jian Chen?" At this moment, the young man sitting in the pavilion was named Jian Wuxian. He was none other than the genius from the Sword Saint Mountain mentioned by the Violet Jade Fairy, a descendant of the Sword God. "So it's you guys." The world overlord of the Tiandao Sacred Academy instantly understood when he saw the two of them. He then spoke to Jian Wuxian and the others. "These are the people who cultivated together with Jian Chen in his courtyard. I believe the people you guys are waiting for are them." The Sword Saint Mountain was an extremely ancient hegemonic power in the mystic region. There was a heavenly deity from the ancient era who was conferred the title of Sword God. Did another supreme genius appear in the Sword Saint Mountain? If this was the case, could it be that the Sword Saint Mountain was going to be revived? The Tiandao Sacred Academy was different. Even if he was conferred the title of God in the Tiandao Sacred Academy, he was still a heavenly deity of the Sword Saint Mountain. Everyone would only sigh in admiration at the ability of the Tiandao Sacred Academy to transmit the Tao. This was the difference between the Tiandao Sacred Academy and the Ziwei Divine Court. Senior Jian Chen told us to come and welcome Sir Jian Wuxian. The two of them stared at the group of people ahead. After a moment, Jian Wuxian's younger sister felt somewhat awkward. If there wasn't such a blunder earlier, things would still be fine. There would still be people coming to welcome Jian Wuxian. But now, they mistakenly thought that the world overlords were here to welcome them. Jian Junlai was conferred the title of Sword Monarch and not Sword God because there was already a Sword God in the mystic region before. That world overlord wanted to reply, but at this moment, a group of people walked over. They turned their gazes over and smiled when they saw the group of people who came. They then called out, "Brother Qin." They managed the Taoist Lodge and at the same time, they could form connections and form good karma. This was the method of the Taoist Lodge. "Are you guys sure?" Jian Wuxian's younger sister asked again. "Mengchen." Qin Wentian smiled at Jun Mengchen and shook his head, raising his cup to him. Jun Mengchen initially wanted to say something, but when he saw Qin Wentian's nonchalant expression, the anger in his heart also dissipated. That's right, why would he lower himself to his level? What's the point of arguing with words? He would know in the future. His senior brother was more magnanimous, giving up his courtyard. Right now, he couldn't be bothered to argue with Qin Wentian. That's my uncle. Jian Wuxian calmly spoke, his sharp eyes gleaming with arrogance. It was like the name Jian Chen was a glory to him. He was his biological uncle. Indeed, it's extremely rare for the Tiandao Sacred Academy to welcome world overlords into the Sacred Academy. Chapter 18-15. The people in the Daoist Lodge all had strange looks in their eyes. Those people who were clustered around Jian Wuxian also felt that something was strange. Many of them had experienced the incident at the pavilion in the lake yesterday. After the Violet Jade Fairy informed them of Jian Wuxian's identity, many people went to befriend him. As for Qin Wentian and his group, although they seemed extraordinary, no one showed any interest in them. However, today, the experts from the Tiandao Sacred Academy personally came to welcome them. The person who came to welcome them wasn't Jian Wuxian but was Qin Wentian and his group instead. They could all sense the awkwardness of these people from the Sword Saint Mountain. Even those people who were clustered around Jian Wuxian all felt somewhat comical. How can this be? The beautiful eyes of Jian Wuxian's younger sister flashed with a strange look. She stared at the world overlord of the Tiandao Sacred Academy and asked, "Who is he? Why would the Tiandao Sacred Academy come to welcome him?" The experts from the Tiandao Sacred Academy saw the young woman continuing to ask and also saw the reactions of the people in the Great Hall. They could faintly guess what had happened. So it turned out that these people from the Sword Saint Mountain thought that they were here to welcome them. But when they discovered that this wasn't the case, they actually felt somewhat unhappy. This was truly interesting. Do we, the Tiandao Sacred Academy, need to report to you for our actions? A world overlord calmly asked. Although they were from the Sword Saint Mountain and had some relationship with Jian Chen, one mustn't forget that Jian Chen was here to seek the Tao. Before this, they thought that Jian Chen was just casually asking and he had already answered. Yet, this young woman actually continued to ask and her attitude wasn't that friendly. "Sir, please don't blame her. My younger sister doesn't know any etiquette and was merely curious." As a world overlord, Jian Wuxian's reaction was much faster. He immediately went up and apologized. After all, he also wanted to head to the Tiandao Sacred Academy for cultivation. He didn't want to offend the experts from the Tiandao Sacred Academy before he even entered the Sacred Academy. "Brother Qin." The Violet Jade Fairy who was at the side had a look of contemplation on her face when she thought of how the Realm Lord of the Sacred Academy addressed Qin Wentian. After that, her beautiful eyes suddenly froze as she thought of the reason for the argument between the two factions last night. It was because of the two geniuses on the Heavenly Tao rankings, the Qinqing Realm Lord and Jian Chen. The Qinqing Realm Lord seemed to have the surname Qin. The beautiful eyes of the Violet Jade Fairy stared at Qin Wentian, feeling somewhat speechless. She didn't expect that the main character was right in front of her and was staying in the Daoist Lodge, yet no one recognized him. Who received Sir Qin? At this moment, the Violet Jade Fairy took a step forward and asked the serving girls in the Great Hall. The serving girl who received Qin Wentian earlier walked out and replied in a low voice, replying to Violet Jade Fairy, "I was the one who received him." "Which floor is young Master Qin on? How long will he be staying for?" Violet Jade Fairy asked. "The 4th level, a month's time." The serving girl replied. "Go back and ask if there are any guests staying at the top level. If there aren't, see if it's possible to arrange for Sir Qin and his friends to stay there." The Violet Jade Fairy commanded. It seemed like her status in the Daoist Lodge was extraordinary. "Ah!" The serving girl started. The 1st level was prepared for the major characters of the Mystic region. Also, only characters from the peak powers of the Mystic region had the qualifications to stay on the 1st level. Right now, the Violet Jade Fairy actually said that she wanted Qin Wentian to stay on the top level. Do as I say. The Violet Jade Fairy spoke. Yes. The serving girl nodded. Her beautiful eyes cast a deep glance at Qin Wentian. Seems like this young man whose residence was snatched from the third level was actually an extraordinary character. In addition, it was highly possible that he came from a peak power in the mystic region. Everyone in the surroundings started. Could it be that the Violet Jade Fairy already knew of the identity of this young man? That attendant of the Daoist Lodge beside Jian Wuxian had a strange look on his face. He seemed to be contemplating the consequences of him helping Qin Wentian to snatch away Qin Wentian's residence. Although it seemed like a minor matter, if Qin Wentian was qualified to stay on the first level of the Heaven Equal Lodge, this matter would definitely be a major one. No need, the fourth level is fine. There's no need to trouble yourself. Qin Wentian glanced at the Violet Jade Fairy. He didn't deserve a reward if he didn't deserve it. Since he paid the price to stay here, he could feel at ease. The way the Daoist Lodge did things was too utilitarian, it was best if he didn't interact too deeply with them. Qingqing Realm Lord is now famous in the mystic region. How can you feel aggrieved staying in my Daoist Lodge? This is something that should be done. The Violet Jade Fairy smiled, exuding a sense of charm. Qingqing Realm Lord. The gazes of the people in the surroundings froze. So it turned out that this young man was none other than the Qingqing Realm Lord whose name was now famous in the mystic region. He was a supreme genius who killed the Dragon Pool Manor Lord in a single battle. In addition, he would soon be ranked on the Heavenly Dao rankings, becoming one of the 10 people with the highest potential to become a heavenly deity. The people of the Sword Saint Mountain turned their gazes to Qin Wentian. He was actually the Qingqing Realm Lord. Before this, the people of the Sword Saint Mountain snatched away Qin Wentian's residence and even said that the Qingqing Realm Lord was inferior to Jian Chen last night. However, the Qingqing Realm Lord didn't even say a single word to them and didn't snatch his residence. The disparity between them was obvious. Although they still firmly believed that the Qingqing Realm Lord was inferior to Jian Chen, at the very least, he was superior to them. If he revealed his identity, would the Daoist Lodge allow his residence to be snatched away? I appreciate Fairy's kind intentions. However, the atmosphere on the fourth level is already extremely good. My family members are all very satisfied. Qin Wentian smiled and nodded. I will head to the Tiandao Sacred Academy for cultivation and won't disturb the Daoist Lodge any longer. Qianyu, I will leave the matters here to you. Okay. Yi Qianyu smiled. She was very experienced and her methods of doing things were extraordinary. Compared to Qingqing and Qinghe, she was much more suitable to handle these trivial matters. Farewell. Qin Wentian smiled and nodded to the Violet Jade Fairy. After that, he spoke to the people of the Tiandao Sacred Academy, let's move out. Brother Qin, please. The experts from the Tiandao Sacred Academy laughed. After that, the group of them departed. Yi Qianyu and the others sent them off. They planned to send Qin Wentian to the Tiandao Sacred Academy before going to Daoist City for a stroll. Right now, there were many world overlords among them. As long as they didn't take the initiative to create trouble, there wouldn't be any problems they couldn't resolve. The beautiful eyes of the Violet Jade Fairy froze, a look of unhappiness could be seen on her face. Last night, she seemed to have heard Jun Mengchen saying that Qin Wentian's courtyard was snatched away by Jian Wuxian. Now that Qin Wentian didn't accept the kind intentions of the Daoist Lodge, it was clear that he was somewhat unhappy. There should be someone responsible for this matter. Sir Jian, let's move out. The other two people who came to welcome Jian Wuxian spoke. Jian Wuxian could sense the silence in the surroundings and nodded. Right now, the atmosphere around him was no longer as lively as before. The atmosphere was extremely strange. Let's go. The people from the Sword Saint Mountain also left together. When that person saw the cold gaze of the violet jade fairy, he couldn't help but to shiver. He knew that Qin Wentian's rejection had caused this small matter to become even bigger. However, Qin Wentian basically didn't care about his existence. At this moment, he once again arrived outside the Tiandao Sacred Academy. His eyes were filled with anticipation. Qin Wentian's eyes flashed. So it turned out that the major character from the Tiandao Sacred Academy was also a character on the Heavenly Dao rankings and had the potential to step into the Heavenly Deity realm. Also, from the words of the major character, he should be extremely close to the Heavenly Deity realm. Don't boast about me in front of Wentian. That Heavenly Deity realm is something that can only be seen but not reached. I wonder when I would be able to step into it. In the airspace above the waterfall, a voice rang out. You guys can come up. Qin Wentian and the others flew up and arrived at the top of the waterfall. When they saw the luxurious buildings before them, Qin Wentian only felt that this place was like a paradise on earth. In the depths of the Tiandao Sacred Academy, there were many buildings that were extremely beautiful. Wentian pays his respects to Senior. Qin Wentian politely spoke. There's no need to be so polite. You and I are acquainted during the convention. It can also be considered fate. You have such talent at such a young age and I feel ashamed to be ranked in the same Heavenly Dao rankings as you. In the future, your accomplishments would definitely surpass mine. The Divine Sound World Overlord smiled. In the future, there's no need for you to refer to me as Senior. Since we are both cultivating in the Sacred Academy and a Heavenly Deity is your master, you can just refer to me as Senior Brother Divine Sound. Chapter 1816. Qin Wentian could sense the closeness of the other party. He didn't reject it and smiled. Wentian pays my respects to Senior Brother Divine Sound. Good. Junior Brother Qin, there's an empty courtyard on this mountain peak. You can stay there and be next to me. I heard that you brought your family and friends here to the Tiandao Sacred Academy. Do you want them to enter the Sacred Academy for cultivation? Divine Sound asked. I have such thoughts. Some of them have extremely high talent. Qin Wentian didn't hesitate. He then continued, naturally, everything has to be carried out according to the will of the Tiandao Sacred Academy. I will arrange for them to stay at the Daoask Lodge. If it doesn't work out, they will temporarily stay in Daoask City. It's very easy for me to meet with them there. I will send someone to the Daoask Lodge to conduct a test. If they really have talent, they can enter the Sacred Academy as well. It's just that they won't have a Heavenly Deity as their master. Divine Sound spoke. That's only natural. Qin Wentian nodded. How could he not know what's good for him? Naturally, he felt that those with outstanding talent would also have Heavenly Deities guiding them. However, it was just the will of Heavenly Deities. As for him, he would have the chance to meet a true Heavenly Deity and receive his Tao teachings. It's impossible for Heavenly Deities to have free time at all times to guide others in cultivation. They would only occasionally transmit their Tao teachings. You should be able to understand this point. Divine Sound spoke. Qin Wentian naturally understood that Heavenly Deities also needed to cultivate. They would also yearn for greater strength and pursue supremacy. It was impossible for Heavenly Deities to spend all their time teaching others. Hence, Heavenly Deities would only transmit their Tao teachings once every 3 months. So frequently. Qin Wentian felt a little bewildered. Haha. Divine Sound laughed. He knew that Qin Wentian must have misunderstood. He smiled. Although it's impossible for Heavenly Deities to transmit their Taos at all times, Wentian, could it be that you really think that the Heavenly Deities are transmitting their Taos here in person? Qin Wentian started. After that, he couldn't help but laugh. That's right, how could a Heavenly Deity have so much free time? If he wanted to impart his Tao, why would he need to stay in the Sacred Academy? He would definitely visit the various regions and pursue the true essence of the heavenly Tao. As for imparting the Tao, even a strand of the will of a heavenly deity was extraordinary. If a strand of immortal sense was left behind, wouldn't it be sufficient for him to impart his Tao? Naturally, other than heavenly deities transmitting their Taos, there are also many cultivation secret realms in the Sacred Academy. You can explore them yourself. As long as you don't disturb the cultivation of others, the Tiandao Sacred Academy doesn't prohibit anything, even sparring. In the Tiandao Sacred Academy, it's very normal for conflicts to occur. The people who come here are all geniuses from the various regions and are all extremely proud and arrogant. But you have to stop when the situation is too bad. Friendly sparring would be able to stimulate the battle intent of experts. The Divine Sound World Overlord smiled as he glanced at Qin Wentian. Qin Wentian's name shook the mystic region. Right now, the Heavenly Tao rankings of the Tiandao Sacred Academy also included him. Many people in the Tiandao Sacred Academy were unhappy about this. In the Sacred Academy, Qin Wentian shouldn't think about having a peaceful life. The world overlords at the side all smiled. In truth, when Qin Wentian entered the Tiandao Sacred Academy, the news circulated very quickly. Many transcendent-level world overlords in the Tiandao Sacred Academy all knew that the Qinqing Realm Lord has already entered the Tiandao Sacred Academy for cultivation. In addition, he would take a heavenly deity as his master and his name has already been engraved on the heavenly Tao rankings. Divine Sound, I heard that you recommended a Tao Seeker to the Tiandao Sacred Academy. Right now, this Tao Seeker is extremely famous in the mystic region and has even entered the heavenly Tao rankings. Is it this person? At this moment, a voice drifted over. However, the person who spoke was actually in a palace located extremely far away. Yes, junior brother Qin's talent is extremely outstanding. I admire him very much and hence, I recommended him to the Sacred Academy. Divine Sound smiled as she replied. I'm afraid he's in trouble now. That combat maniac most probably wants to hunt him down. That person laughed. This is especially so for those rankers on the Heavenly Tao rankings. A strange look flashed in the eyes of Divine Sound as he thought of a person. This person wasn't someone from the mystic region and came from the outer regions instead. He claimed that he came to the Tiandao Sacred Academy in the mystic region to seek the Tao. But other than seeking the Tao, he actually had another purpose. He wanted to experience the many extremely famous world overlords in the mystic region. Many famous world overlords in the Tiandao Sacred Academy have been challenged by him before. As for the top 3 rankers on the Heavenly Tao rankings, he has also challenged them all. Right now, Qin Wentian has already entered the Heavenly Tao rankings and was also in the Sacred Academy. Seems like there would definitely be a battle between them. In addition, you were the one who recommended him to the Tiandao Sacred Academy. I'm afraid he would suffer a calamity. That person laughed again. Clearly, his status was extraordinary as well. If not, it would be impossible for him to speak so casually to the Divine Sound World Overlord. Qin Wentian had a strange expression on his face. He stared at the Divine Sound World Overlord with curiosity. He is an extremely arrogant person who loves battle. He came from the desolate region. Our Tiandao Sacred Academy has always emphasized education without discrimination. This person is extremely famous in the desolate region and his talent and combat prowess are both outstanding. Hence, we allowed him to enter the Sacred Academy. However, this young man is too arrogant and has no one in his eyes. Back then when he fought against me, I taught him a lesson. Divine Sound spoke. Qin Wentian's eyes flashed. This person was actually a heaven-chosen world overlord from the desolate region. The Luotian clan was also a major power of the desolate region. A world overlord who is actually so famous in the desolate region. He should be very powerful, right? Qin Wentian asked. He is different from you. His fame comes from his clan. He who originally came from a hegemonic power was nurtured by his clan as the next leader and obtained the supreme inheritance of his clan. Because of his fame, his combat prowess is extremely high and he has an innate Dao bone. Divine Sound World Overlord spoke. Qin Wenqian's eyes flashed again. An innate Dao bone. His Dao bone came from an inheritance left behind by a god king. As for this young man, he was born with an innate Dao bone. Senior brother Divine Sound, I still have a question. Given how famous the Tiandao Sacred Academy is, why would they still come to Azure Mystic? The ancient emperors of Azure Mystic are merely at the Empyrean realm. To the Tiandao Sacred Academy, they shouldn't even be worth a mention, right? Qin Wenqian asked. The Tiandao Sacred Academy will not only come to Azure Mystic, they will also come to many other immortal realms in the lower world. Their Dao teachings naturally have to be based on the actual situation. Back then, Azure Mystic suffered a great calamity and was sealed, cutting off all communication with the outside world. There was no news and there were no experts. To Azure Mystic, it's already very impressive that they could enter the Empyrean realm. Divine Sound smiled. Naturally, other than this, there's another reason. There's an extremely powerful world overlord in the Tiandao Sacred Academy. He came from Azure Mystic and dedicated his entire life to the Sacred Academy. If there's a chance, I will introduce him to you guys. Qin Wenqian's eyes flashed. So this was the reason. The Tiandao Sacred Academy was intentionally giving special treatment to Azure Mystic. Although after ancient Azure Mystic was destroyed, the current Azure Mystic was in decline. But after countless years, there would surely be some people who came to the supreme ancient immortal realms. An example was ancient Emperor Yi. In that case, there were clearly many people before ancient Emperor Yi. It's just that it was truly not easy for someone who came out from Azure Mystic and could grow to become an extremely powerful world overlord, even having a high status in the Tiandao Sacred Academy. If one goes up further, they would be heavenly deities. Leaving aside Azure Mystic, how many heavenly deities were there in the entire 33 heavens, including the supreme ancient immortal realms? If there's a chance, I will definitely pay a visit. Qin Wenqian nodded. He still had very deep feelings for Azure Mystic. After all, this was the place he grew up in. Oh yeah, there's a place in the Tiandao Sacred Academy that you should be very interested in. Divine Sound smiled. What place? Qin Wenqian asked. The Heavenly Dao Library. The Divine Sound World Overlord spoke. The Heavenly Dao Library is the largest library in the Mystic region. There are countless Daoist scriptures here, as well as records of ancient and modern events. If you want to read through everything, you would most probably need 100 years. How many major events would happen in the supreme ancient immortal realms and the 33 heavens? How many years have passed? Countless years of accumulation only resulted in the Heavenly Dao Library today. Also, even now, there would still be people compiling and recording the major events that happened in the various regions of the supreme ancient immortal realms. For this convention, the God King of Time appeared again and left behind a message for a junior. This matter will be recorded in the Heavenly Dao Library. Inside, there are records of your deeds. Divine Sound laughed. Qin Wenqian's eyes flashed with a dazzling light. It wasn't because the Heavenly Dao Library had records of him. Rather, it was because the Heavenly Dao Library contained records of ancient and modern events. In that case, wouldn't the matters of his parents, the matters of the Luotian clan, the matters of the Qin clan, and the world-ending battle of ancient Azure Mystic all be recorded? In addition, this would allow him to have a more comprehensive understanding of the 33 immortal realms. At the very least, he wanted to know the peak powers of the various immortal realms. Given your reaction, you should be very interested. Divine Sound laughed. Indeed, I'm already impatient to go there and take a look. Qin Wenqian laughed. There's nothing much here anyway. If you want to go there, just do it. You guys lead the way and bring junior brother Wenty in there. Divine Sound instructed the world overlords who came with him. Right. The world overlords smiled and nodded. After that, they asked, Brother Qin, are we going to the Heavenly Tao Library? Qin Wentian nodded. After that, he bid farewell and departed together with them. The world overlords here all felt somewhat envious of Qin Wentian. One of them spoke, Brother Qin already has a heavenly deity as your master the moment you entered the Tiandao Sacred Academy. Senior Divine Sound is your senior apprentice brother. When people compare themselves to others, the disparity is truly too great. I'm just lucky. I still have to thank senior brother Divine Sound for his appreciation. Qin Wentian humbly spoke. How is this luck? Clearly, you have proven your talent in the convention. Even if you chose the Ziwei Divine Court or other peak powers, you would still be heavily nurtured. In fact, your treatment might even be better compared to the treatment in the Tiandao Sacred Academy. The world overlords didn't feel any jealousy in their hearts. They were just casually speaking. Given Qin Wentian's talent, they were far inferior to him. The Heavenly Tao Library was constructed in the middle of an ancient mountain peak. It was extremely majestic and had a total of 33 levels. 33 levels. Qin Wentian's eyes flashed. The 33 levels of the Heavenly Tao Library correspond to the 33 immortal realms. Each level records the matters of the respective immortal realms. The highest level is the Supreme Ancient Immortal Realms and there are many different sections within. The world overlords beside him introduced. Qin Wentian nodded. The Tiandao Sacred Academy, what a grand investment. The largest library in the Mystic region definitely didn't have an undeserved reputation. Chapter 18-17. Qin Wentian entered the Heavenly Tao Library. There were many people entering and exiting this place. Everyone who went to the Tiandao Sacred Academy to seek the Tao would definitely come to the Heavenly Tao Library. There were no exceptions. Before the 33 immortal realms, no matter how strong an individual was, they would still be insignificant. They wanted to take a look at this vast sea of knowledge. There were guardians in the Heavenly Tao Library. Other than cultivating, the only thing they did was to guard the Heavenly Tao Library and compile new historical records. One mustn't underestimate the guardians. If one asked who was the most knowledgeable about the 33 immortal realms, the oldest guardians would definitely be ranked among them. In fact, there were even some guardians who stayed here for tens of millions of years, willingly staying here. It could be said that they knew the history of the 33 immortal realms like the back of their hands. After Qin Wentian entered, he glanced at the signboard and discovered that the Supreme Ancient Immortal Realms were at the highest level of the Heavenly Tao Library. This was very normal, but what made him surprised was that the Azure Mystic Immortal Realms were actually at the second level, just below the Supreme Ancient Immortal Realms. He didn't know if there was a deeper meaning behind this arrangement of the Tiandao Sacred Academy. Maybe, it was because Azure Mystic was the only immortal realm that wasn't ruled by a hegemonic power from the Supreme Ancient Immortal Realms. Qin Wentian walked up the stairs and headed straight for the top 2 levels. Although he was also very interested in the other immortal realms, the number of books in the Heavenly Tao Library was simply too abundant. It was impossible for him to browse through them one by one. The ones he wanted to understand the most was still the Supreme Ancient Immortal Realms and Azure Mystic. After he arrived at the second level, he discovered that this level was much more spacious compared to the other levels. It seemed like the Heavenly Tao Library had the least amount of records regarding Azure Mystic. This could also be understood. After the world-ending battle, Azure Mystic was sealed away. After that, there didn't seem to be anything worthy for the Tiandao Sacred Academy to intentionally leave a record here. In fact, maybe, the Tiandao Sacred Academy didn't even pay much attention to it. Qin Wentian entered. The bookshelves were clearly categorized. For example, the major powers of the Azure Mystic Immortal Realms, the characters of the Azure Mystic Immortal Realms, the strange stories of Azure Mystic, etc. He came before a certain bookshelf. The world-ending battle of ancient Azure Mystic was listed separately and there were many ancient scrolls introducing it. Qin Wentian stretched out his hand and flipped open an ancient scroll. His immortal sense entered and after that, numerous characters floated into his mind, incomparably clear. This is the background introduction of the Doomsday Battle. After Qin Wentian finished reading, he placed it back to its original place. Indeed, it was like what the heavenly deities said back then. The background of the world-ending battle was after the 33 immortal realms were unified. Other than the Azure Mystic Immortal Realms, the other 31 immortal realms were all ruled by the hegemonic powers of the Supreme Ancient Immortal Realms. At this moment, only Qin Xian stood tall. There were many hegemonic powers in the Supreme Ancient Immortal Realms that wanted to separate the 33 immortal realms. How could some ambitious people allow the Azure Mystic Immortal Realms to be weak? They naturally wanted to control the Azure Mystic Immortal Realms for themselves. Hence, they started this world-ending war. Naturally, the background recorded in the Jade Slip was even more detailed. Many powers of the heavenly deity race who participated in the world-ending battle no longer existed. From this, one could see how ancient the history was. Qin Wentian quietly read. He flipped through the ancient scroll and gradually came into contact with the famous heavenly deities of ancient Azure Mystic. Among them, there were a few that were mentioned the most. One of them was none other than the imperishable Heaven Lord, the faith of ancient Azure Mystic. She was a true goddess, unexcelled in the world. Other than the imperishable Heaven Lord, the ancient scroll also introduced another character that the heavenly deities didn't mention to him. This legendary character, in the ancient scroll of the Tiandao Sacred Academy, was known as the Grim Reaper. During the world-ending battle, there were two people who received the most attention. One was the imperishable Heaven Lord, and the other was none other than the Grim Reaper. The various heavenly deities started the world-ending battle, destroying Azure Mystic. The imperishable Heaven Lord transformed into a form of heaven and earth, and just when everyone thought that this cruel war was about to end, the Grim Reaper arrived and killed his way into the Supreme Ancient Immortal Realms. He led his army of death spirits and was like a doomsday as he slaughtered his way into the heavenly deity race. Some of the heavenly deity race had thrived for countless years and had millions of people. The Grim Reaper arrived, destroying all existences. A portion of the powerful heavenly deity race was completely annihilated, vanishing from the Supreme Ancient Immortal Realms. It was precisely because of the existence of the Grim Reaper that the various heavenly deities didn't manage to conquer Azure Mystic. That world-ending battle was a true calamity. Not only for ancient Azure Mystic, it was also for some of the heavenly deity race. How cruel was the destruction of the heavenly deity race! From then on, Azure Mystic was sealed. No other power dared to invade Azure Mystic again. No one was willing to clash head-on with the Grim Reaper. He only had a codename, you wouldn't even know who he was. No one was willing to face his army of death spirits. After Qin Wentian familiarized himself with this period of history, his heart trembled as his emotions fluctuated. So it turned out that not only ancient Azure Mystic was destroyed, some of the heavenly deity race in the Supreme Ancient Immortal Realms also suffered a calamity. Hence, calling it the world-ending battle was the most appropriate. Right now, whether it was right or wrong, Qin Wentian also didn't know how to judge. In truth, it was all because of greed. If it wasn't for the various heavenly deities wanting to unify ancient Azure Mystic, there wouldn't be a world-ending battle. If they didn't start the world-ending battle, the Grim Reaper wouldn't have led his army of death spirits to kill his way into the Supreme Ancient Immortal Realms. Grim Reaper. Qin Wentian mumbled. He involuntarily thought of a person. However, could this person be the Grim Reaper recorded in the ancient scroll? After he finished reading the dossier on the world-ending battle, Qin Wentian glanced at other places and casually browsed through them. He didn't understand much about the history of the world-ending battle, hence he gave up and left this place, heading towards the highest level of the Heavenly Tao Library. When Qin Wentian stepped into the highest level, he instantly felt a difference. There were simply too many books here, it was definitely the largest in the Heavenly Tao Library. The Supreme Ancient Immortal Realms was an upper world and could be said to be the leader of the 33 Immortal Realms. They had the most experts and the land they occupied was the largest. The history here was the longest and there were countless records. The Heavenly Tao Library of the Supreme Ancient Immortal Realms was further divided into 8 regions. Heaven, Earth, Mystic, Yellow, Cosmos, Chaos and Desolate. Each of the 8 regions occupied a region and there were countless books stored within. Qin Wentian first walked to the region of the Heaven region. This region was further divided into many categories. Qin Wentian found the introduction of the various powers in the Heaven region and after that, he saw the Qin clan. This was one of the 2 powers he wanted to understand the most when he came to the Heavenly Tao Library. The Qin clan was the clan his father was from and from a certain perspective, it was also where his clan was located. Sadly, right now, he had an irreconcilable grudge with the Qin clan. Just the introduction of the Qin clan alone was enough to fill up an entire section of bookshelves. A peak power that had existed for countless years, there were simply too many legends that could be written down. The names of those peak characters from generation to generation were all recorded in the scrolls. How could there not be many? Qin Wentian started reading from the left, and was extremely serious. For the vast majority of the records, he merely skimmed through them casually, continuing downwards. But even if there were many historical figures he had no knowledge of, although he was reading very quickly, he didn't miss out anything. Time flowed by bit by bit. Finally, Qin Wentian saw the content he wanted to see, and he became even more serious. There were many factions in the Qin clan and each faction had its times when they were strong and weak. But at the core, there were only a few factions. They were the foundation of the Qin clan and many supreme characters had appeared before. For example, the battle god of the Qin clan, Qin Tiangang, and Qin Ding. These 2 were a pair of cousins and were also the 2 hegemonic characters of a certain generation in the Qin clan. Battle god Qin Tiangang was invincible and had never been defeated before. He fought for the Qin clan and his fame shook the heavens. Qin Ding reigned supreme under the heavens and was similarly extraordinary. However, fate made fools of people. These 2 legendary characters, one of them didn't have a good ending. Qin Tiangang and his wife died when they were exploring a secret realm. Their deities fell. They left behind an orphan, a legendary character of the Qin clan of the next generation, Qin Yuanfeng. Because he was an orphan, although Qin Yuanfeng displayed extraordinary talent since young, he was always suppressed by another person. This person was none other than the heaven chosen of the Qin clan, Qin Ding's son, Qin Zheng. Qin Zheng was destined to be extraordinary. The bloodline he belonged to was also extremely powerful. In addition to his own extraordinary talent, he was directly nurtured as the successor of the Qin clan. However, the matters of the world are ever changing. There was a rumor in the Qin clan that Qin Tiangang and his wife had entered a secret realm and before they died, they obtained a supreme treasure which was then passed on to their son, a legendary character named Qin Yuanfeng. With regards to this point, the ancient scrolls of the Tiandao Sacred Academy didn't record it in too much detail. But the things that happened after weren't too different from what Qin Wentian knew. In fact, the information recorded in the ancient scrolls wasn't as detailed as what he knew. After all, the Tiandao Sacred Academy wasn't a prophet, they didn't even know the exact details. Qin Wentian learned the name of his grandfather, Qin Tiangang. As for his father, Qin Yuanfeng, he was the same as him back then, an orphan. From this, one could very well imagine how much they had experienced. When he thought of this, he couldn't help but sigh at the unfairness of fate. The competition between his father and Qin Zheng had never been fair. If his grandfather was still alive, things would be different. Qin Wentian flipped through many legendary stories regarding his grandfather. He felt his blood boiling, but the more this was so, the deeper his hatred grew. His grandfather was the one who helped the Qin clan solidify their position in the Heaven region. However, after his grandfather died, how did the Qin clan treat his father, Qin Yuanfeng? Reality was so cruel. Everything the Qin clan owed his bloodline, he had to repay it no matter what. Qin Wentian continued reading. He naturally wouldn't see his grandfather's existence, but he saw the legendary Heaven's son, Qin Dangtian. After he finished reading, he silently placed the ancient scroll down. His expression was calm to the extreme as he walked towards the desolate region, browsing through the ancient scrolls of the Luotian clan. Here, the deeds of his maternal grandfather were recorded, as well as his uncle, the Sky Order heavenly deity, a legendary character in the desolate region. However, regardless of the Qin clan's Heaven's Son or the Sky Order heavenly deity, both mentioned the same thing. Heaven's Son Qin Dangtian represented his father to battle and crippled the Sky Order heavenly deity. Qin Wentian was very serious about the Luotian clan's ancient scroll. After he finished reading, he fell silent for a long time as many emotions filled his heart. His immortal sense spread out as he started to search for other interesting scrolls. Very soon, his immortal sense stopped at a certain location. Over there, the Battle Saint Tribe's ancient scroll. You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Chronicles YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.